What's up?
Hey, what's up?
You hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
Cool. We'll wait for Sergio to hop on. You already trained
Cool.
today?
Yeah, yeah.
You working out with Hassan a lot? That's what it looks like.
That was our first workout together.
Oh, really? I thought I saw a couple.
Yeah, we just did an arm day.
Yeah, he's fucking so big.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, he's cool, man. He's cool.
Is he like strong? Does it like I'm assuming he's pretty strong, but like does he lift with all that? He's so dense.
He's very strong. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's very strong. Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we just had the fourth yesterday, so everyone's all recovering today. Do
Oh yeah,
you guys what's that?
yeah. No, we have Canada Day.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is that when y'all like shoot off a bunch of fireworks and shit too?
Yep, yeah. We did that. What was that? Saturday? Yeah,
Oh, it's like the same around the same time.
yeah. Pretty
Oh,
much.
what is it based off of? Like what is y'all's Canada Day like for? Like ours is like the Declaration of Independence, right? What is Canada Day?
I believe it's the birth of Canada, something like that.
Yeah, okay.
I should
Nice.
probably know that. I'm gonna look it up now because I'm
Well, y'all
probably
got
gonna.
weird ones. I don't know what like Boxing Day is. We
What
Americans, we
is?
don't know shit about anyone else. We really
Oh yeah.
are pretty self-centered. What are you guys? Are you guys like watching any of the debate bullshit at all? You see that at all in the
I
US?
watch it a little bit, but I'm like staying away from like media.
Yeah,
Like I
just
kind
get
of
ready
like
for the show.
I'll go on social media, post my shit, get off.
Yeah.
I'll stay away from like conventional media like almost altogether. But like I had some buddies like send me the memes of the Trump debate, and it's hilarious. That's for sure. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. So
what's like the outside view of like Biden versus Trump from Canada at least?
I mean, I prefer Trump big time. I think Biden is just off his rocker. It's pretty clear. So I don't
Yeah.
even know how he's in the leadership role to begin with. But um, I don't know. I mean, Trump's crazy too, but at least he's
At least he can
coherent.
speak. Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah,
I think most bodybuilders we tend to lean a little bit more conservative too, just probably because of the ideology, right? Like conservative ideology is more like we think that people are capable like of themselves of making something of themselves, and of course sometimes people need help, but more or less we think that people are able to better themselves. They're smart enough to improve themselves. So how are you feeling for this round? Is there anything that you're trying to change versus what was first? Toronto was first because you looked
yeah,
pretty fucking on point, right? Like what else can you do? Are you maybe like a little fullness or something? I mean, you can't really get much more diced.
exactly. Just get it fuller. So that's we've just been eating more and keeping the conditioning. So I'll probably be about 7 pounds heavier, between
Okay,
5 and 7 pounds heavier.
nice. Yeah, that's what I
So
was gonna
it'll
ask.
be a really good
So what do
workout.
you be at? What do you think you're what will that put you at?
Around 262.
Nice. What were you last year?
Yeah. At Toronto,
Yeah. That was the last show you did, right?
it was around 250
Yeah,
last year.
you probably lost a lot, right? Leading into that too, more than you anticipated.
That was the big one, right? It was yeah, I was struggling to even keep that weight on at all when I was eating 7, 8 meals a day and still kind of losing weight. So, obviously this time was much better. And I still did deal with some gut health stuff along the way, but it's mostly accumulative stress and inflammation. So now that the first show finished, I was able to basically get my body back to baseline, mitigating a lot of stress factors. And like one of the biggest things was just being able to eat more.
Yeah.
And so I'm not running on basically fumes. Like I'm actually training with fuel in my body essentially. So
You had to pretty much drive it pretty hard coming into the show? You weren't able to like to eat up into it the last one?
well,
Besides just like refeed.
I did, but the thing is that my metabolism was sped up quite a bit. So we probably could have eaten more going into it.
Is Quint's not doing it, is he? Is he doing
Quint, I believe, is going to be competing later in the year,
yeah, okay, that's what
from
I
what
was
he
hearing.
said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he still looks pretty lean, but I wasn't thinking he was like that lean. What do you think about the what do we got this week? We got what is it, Portugal? What's the one going on? They've got, I
Oh
know it's
yeah,
Bonac and
Portugal.
Nate.
So that, yeah, Nathan. I know Nathan's there.
Yeah, pretty
Not
much
sure
Nate
who
and
else,
Bonac.
right? Yeah.
Two-man race. I think Amir is there and like Wolski, a couple of guys that have been running the shows this year.
Should be a
Yeah,
bunch of
obviously,
good guys. Yeah.
yeah, it'll definitely be clear top two for sure. Nate and Nate's looking pretty sick. I mean, obviously, I was surprised how good William looked. I thought he was gonna like not bring it together as good as he does. It is like a little, you can just tell he doesn't have quite that level of like fullness that he had, like that craziness. But he really brought it back like pretty good. Him and Sasan at that show, they look nuts. But yeah, Stefan's like killing it right now. You know, he's got so many good guys, and he's got Bonac and Nate. So either way, he's gonna have 1 and 2, I think.
Yeah, he's got Martin. Yeah, you're right. He does have a lot of good guys right
He
now.
got so many. You know who he's got? Who we'll talk about a little bit later. Is he's got Mo Fuda now, and I hear Mo's either doing Vancouver or doing Chicago. It sounds like
Cool.
you
I'll
familiar
be
with
doing
him?
both. Yeah, I'll be doing both of those.
Nice. What up?
Yo,
How's it
What's
going,
up,
man?
Sergio?
hey, how's it going?
Good
Yeah, did
man.
you have a good fourth?
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. You guys went out to Red Rock, right? As it looked like.
Yeah,
So it's still like fucking 100 degrees at night, or did it cool down a little bit?
pretty much.
You getting used to it now? You've adapted?
No, it doesn't bother me at all. Dubai
Yeah.
was like 140 with
Yeah,
humidity.
that's right.
So
That's right. You were used to it from there, huh? And your girl too.
yes,
So exactly, that's what she said. So yeah, you guys got a little bit acclimated there.
yeah.
We were just talking about Bonac versus Nate coming up. What do you think about that?
Uh, there's also somebody else, isn't there?
Yeah, you got Emir and like Wolski, but I don't think anyone else big time.
Oh, no. I was thinking of the Dubai show. Yeah, you're right. It's for
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah. This show it's going to be them. Honestly, I don't know why Bonac is doing it. Um, it only would hurt him to
Yeah, I
do
mean, he
it
could
and
just
move.
gain some fullness, right? And just keep trying to put on a little bit before
I
let
think
me
I I think it's because he just did that guest posing. He definitely looked even a little bit better.
yeah.
Um, so maybe he just thinks his body's improving and it's doing good, or he's also with a new coach and maybe they're trying to perfect it by the time the Olympia comes.
I mean, they nailed it. You know, I think Bonac just fucking loves it too. You know, I think Bonac just does what he wants. You know, he's pretty like listens to himself. You know, I think he just wants to compete. I think this is probably his farewell tour. Honestly, I mean, he doesn't seem like he wants to push his body like crazy. So I wouldn't be surprised if he picks up another win, gets top 10 for sure at the Olympia, and then just says goodbye. You know, that's a pretty great career. But we were talking
Mhm.
about Stefan, man. He's boss of Outlaw, right? He's just killing it this year. He's got so many people. Like before we get into anything, what do you guys? You've been with Dorian for quite a while, right, Robin? You've been with Dorian for pretty much your whole pro career, or no?
No, not actually. I've worked with like a whole bunch of coaches before Dorian, but been with Dorian since 2021 now.
Okay, so like 3 or 4 years, and then you
Or
obviously
sorry,
were with.
no, sorry, that's wrong. 2022.
Okay. Who
Yeah.
who were you with right before that?
Well, I was coaching myself for 2021. I did the Puerto Rico show.
Hmm. And then
Yeah.
obviously you were with Aceto forever, right? And now you've got Yoda. Like Stefan's hot as shit right now. He's awesome. If you guys could pick any,
Yeah.
if you had to pick another coach, say someone just like you can't go to your coach, can't go to anyone you've ever had before, you have to use somebody else and they'll take you on. Would you guys think about Stefan, or are you leaning towards Hani, or who would you guys think about in that role?
Good question.
Hani's not taking any more people.
No, yeah, of course not. But I'm saying like if you could get anybody and you knew they would be dedicated 100% to you and just give it your all.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, I'm close with Martin, so that would be the only reason I would even think about it is that somebody that I could talk to about it. But I literally just went through this whole stress of trying to figure out a coach. So the thought of going through that again is giving me anxiety. There's no way I can even think of it.
Yeah, I think
Why did you
Stefan's.
pick Neil?
What'd you say?
I said, why did you pick Neil?
For a few reasons. One, I had talked to Raphael. Raphael had just also left Casino
Mhm.
right before I did as well. And he's also someone who was with him his whole entire amateur and pro career. So it was someone that I could talk to and he would know what to tell me. And I also really need someone who's very chill and calm. And Neil and Aceto are very chill and very calm. And honestly, I was in Italy right after my Cal show last year, and I was with Rami. I was with Rami and somebody else who was with another coach, and I was telling them that like, hey, I want to try and do something with someone new, and even Rami, who's with Chad, was saying not that he didn't recommend to go with Chad. And it's so funny because I was with him, and Hassan had called him. I mean, it had to have been like 10 minutes after our conversation about who I should go with. And Hassan is calling and he's like flipping out because he's like 3 days out from whatever show it was last year that he was doing. And he hadn't heard from Chad. So I was like, well, that's a sign for me that I'm definitely out because I don't need to be babied. I definitely don't need to be like, like walked holding hands. But before a show, I'm definitely stressed out. And I definitely even just a message back saying, hey, I'm busy, I'll get back to you, takes no time at all. And if you're someone who doesn't do that with a client who's a couple days out, you're definitely not the guy for me. But that was mostly
Yeah.
it.
I mean, that's the thing too, is like, we're always, I think, once you get closer to the shows and stuff, we always get a little bit crazier. But I remember I have Robin helping me for this show. I'm trying to do the North Americans. Before that, I had Blue. I used Blue Taylor for a show, and actually for off season going into a show, and I was like on top of my stuff. I didn't, I'm always pretty good, and then I had just craziness happen with my life, and like I just need a little stability. And I didn't get a couple messages. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go ham and just throw shit against the one, and like, gain like 8 pounds in like 3 days, and he's getting ready for the Masters Olympia and shit. I get it, but yeah, when you need that attention and you don't get it, it's like, we're already crazy. Like, okay, well, I guess I'll just fucking sabotage sometimes.
Yeah.
So let's look at Vancouver real quick. So this is kind of low key stacked. It's definitely if Mo, like I think right before you got on, we were talking about Mo Fuda might pop into Vancouver. He sounds like he's doing Vancouver or Chicago. He said he's doing something really soon, and he looks really ready. And it's not going to be in Europe, he was saying. So that could be a big one. I think he's definitely a potential guy who go to Olympia this year. But we've got Stanimal for sure, right? He's coming out. Hassan's doing it again. John's coming again. Stu's jumping in. And then Budesheim, which I think Tim was kind of mad that you beat him, Robin. I heard he didn't like that. He wanted to take that top 4, but it was pretty clear they pulled you guys out separate. So I think he's kind of gunning for you. That'll be a good matchup. What are your thoughts on this, Robin? Where do you see yourself landing? What do you think? You think you got a chance to get that Olympia qualification? What are your goals for this?
I'm only focused on winning. So
I love it. That's why I like you. You have like such a mental fortitude that's like so different than me, and you're not like full of shit about it either. Like you send the positive affirmations and stuff. You always reinforce that, and it's like that should work. Like if I don't think about it, I won't do that kind of stuff. So I like that, like, because that's not how I am in the least. That's awesome. I think that's sometimes we can set limits on ourselves if we're not like that. So who all do you see? What do you think is going to be the top guys?
like I always say, shoot for the moon, and if you fall short, you land among the stars.
How's Hassan looking compared to the last show? Is he looking a little bit more ready?
Better. He was originally planning on doing Vancouver.
Yeah.
That's what Dorian wanted him to do. But since he's here in Toronto anyways, they decided to do Toronto. So, obviously he's going to be up there. Yeah, all those guys you mentioned, basically.
It's going to be, I mean, and especially if Mo jumps in, this is going to be like low key stacked. Let's say between first call outs, so we got Stu, John, you, Hassan. What do you think, Sergio? How's this lineup looking for you?
Yeah, right. It's like a little sneaker show where nobody was really talking about it, but yeah, there's going to be some good people. I'm glad that Mo is even going to get a visa. It's really good.
That's why I was thinking maybe Canada. Is it easier to get into Canada from over there?
No,
Yeah,
it's a fucking it's way worse.
Oh, maybe from Chicago then.
Canada's hard for Americans to get a visa sometimes. If you have any kind of priors or anything,
Dude.
I know a couple bodybuilders that.
I know. I just booked a trip to Toronto, and I don't think I have anything that shows up on my record, but I'm like, fuck, hope I don't get turned around once I fucking get up there.
Yeah, they did that to Kevin Jordan one year. He went there to
Yeah.
compete, and they literally to turn him around at the airport. I couldn't even imagine being a week out and then just being like,
Oh,
nope.
fuck. Yeah, I think I'm good. Pretty sure everything's sealed and expunged now, all that good stuff. But there's a lot of guys doing this show that have been competing all year, right? So they're definitely trying to get that qualification. I know, Sergio, when the year you did the Olympia, you went on points, right? You had those 2 second place wins, right? You didn't do it the year you won the New York. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't go. Yeah, I didn't go when I won New York, and then I went with second at Tampa and a second in
Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What are you guys' thoughts? Like originally, I kind of was glad they did away with the point system, but now as the seasons go on, I kind of miss it. I kind of liked it, and I think that'd be awesome for some of these grinders. Also, think you have people like you remember like Luke. Luke made the Olympia that year on points, and he had the potential to be a top 5 guy. He just did the Arnold and went against Dexter in Tampa. So then there's guys like Josh Wade, right, who are never going to win a show, but they're able to get up on the Olympia stage because they just grind. So I think that's kind of cool. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you think you would be interested in bringing the point system back, or do you think it's better without it?
It makes people do more shows because then there's no downside. If you do a show and then you find out, right, like someone who was like an Olympian is showing up, chances are you're not going to win. And so no matter what, that's going to detour some people. So I think when they had the points, like I know when I went to the Olympian points, they did a call out of the people that were in points. It was like me, Ian, I forgot the people that were in it, but they didn't even look at us. No one even looked at that call out. It was like the last call out, and you could see it was all the people who got points to go there. So honestly, for the athlete, it's shit because they're not even looking at you when you're at the
I bet
Olympia
Josh was
anyway.
happy as fuck to be up there.
Josh Wade, right? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people like that, right? Exactly. But for the sport, I think it's actually really good because I know personally of a few people that have backed out last minute because, right, someone might show up or
Yeah,
going to throw their hat in the ring, and then now they're not even going to go because it is kind of smart to not spend. I mean, if you don't have like a
yeah.
sick ass sponsor, you're spending that flight and a hotel and all that to go out there just to get a second. When really there could be a show the next weekend and you could just prep even harder for that. So when you have the points, everybody was just going into the shows. And I think the shows were a lot more stacked then, where now you have to kind of play each show, find out who's going into it. And any bodybuilder who says that they're just like, oh, this is the show I'm doing, and no matter what, anyone's doing it, they're kind of full of shit because you're
I mean,
already
unless you're
trying to.
top 6, at the O. Yeah.
There's no way because this is a business, and you could you could even beat that person that you didn't want to maybe go against in like a European show. You may even be able to beat him at the Olympia, but maybe not right now. You might be with like a new coach, you might still be growing, whatever it is, you might be dealing with an injury. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're never going to beat that person, but having that opportunity that you can just get to the Olympia, it also helps with sponsors a lot. You can you can go, I say this all the time, you could go to fucking Iceland, win that show, and then you beat nobody. But no matter what, you can put Olympian, on your resume. And when you're now shopping for sponsors, you can say, hey, I went to the Olympian this year and this year, where it's a little bit different now.
I mean, it'd be easier if they
Yeah.
didn't have a million divisions and we could actually, get a little bit more guys to get some good looks at. I think the Arnold top 3 would definitely be good. At least let those top 3 qualify right away because that's such a fucking bad. I mean, they used to, right? Top 5, I think, would qualify from the Arnold, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. What do you think, Robin?
I think it adds a little bit of extra excitement because I remember we would look over who's kind of in the point standings and then seeing that change throughout the season.
Yeah.
That was kind of one thing that was cool. But
When you're somebody who could really benefit from it, I mean, you're going to be a top 5 at pretty much any pro show, but unless it's the right lineup, like we don't know if you're going to get that win, but you could stack seconds all day and qualify. Then would that like taint it for you if that was some way to get in, or would you be like, fuck, I'm on the Olympia stage?
no, because I think that if you qualify for the Olympia, then you can always improve for the Olympia, right? Like then that's a new prep to start. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's awesome for the athlete. And in terms of reducing the amount of competitors in the open, I think it was only what, like 2 or 3 guys. So
Yeah,
it's
3.
not like a big deal. So I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you beat Lockett that year at the Olympia when he beat you earlier in the year, Sergio? Did you place ahead of him? I think
No,
you did.
no, this is when they stopped placing after
Okay.
15. So we were all 15th. Me,
Okay.
Ian, Alex Rodriguez, Lockett. So exactly the guy who beat me, uh, straight first places at Chicago, got the same place as I did at the Olympia when I got there on
Yeah.
points. Exactly. But that's also because that person at a local show looks different than he does at an Olympia stage. I think there was a lot of guys that were winning a lot of shows that were able to hide certain things, certain flaws. But I think on the Olympia stage, when you're going against just stacked people, then you start to notice, this guy's missing a leg and this one's got an injury. It's just easier to nitpick on the Olympia stage. Whereas in like the Chicago Pro, especially too, if you're like, I think he won Chicago 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
When you're the reigning champ, no matter what they say, you really got to beat him. And he came in looking the exact same every year, which is amazing. He was one of those guys that was just super conditioned. But yeah, really at the end of the day, it didn't matter.
Yeah, he was a fucking freak. We got, have you seen, is Regan up there right now in Canada, Robin?
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
How's he looking? I heard he's looking
Huge.
fucking crazy.
Big. Yeah, really big. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've
Yeah,
got
really,
him,
really big.
and then Justin Shier, and then Brett Wilkins. All three are taking this season off. I think Brett will probably come at the end of the year, right? I think that's what you're saying, Sergio. You think he'll probably hop on at the end of the year? So
Yeah.
I mean, these are three guys I'm really excited to see the improvements they made. What are your thoughts? Out of those three, who are you most anticipated to see the gains?
You said Brett and Regan.
Brett and Justin Shier.
Yeah, I mean, I think of the three, I think Regan's actually the better of the three. I'm just more excited to see Brett because I had talked to him a lot personally last year while he was kind of struggling with doing a show because he was already qualified and he was going to do the Olympia and he was trying to, get his life together. And it was just, it showed really a level of maturity that he wasn't just like, I'm just going to do the show just because I'm qualified, because it is very important, but bodybuilding is not everything. And that's why he took that year off to make sure he could get everything off stage together. So just personally knowing him and him being my friend, I want to see what that smart decision did to catapult him now. And I also know too, I've only had a couple of workout partners in my life. I've never had any that were going to the Olympia or even winning shows. So I couldn't even fathom having my workout partner qualify for the Olympia, then almost beat Nick at another show, and then now you don't get to go to the Olympia together. So I want that for Martin and Brett mostly.
Yeah, I mean, they came up through the amateurs together, right? They've been tight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What about you, Robin? Who are you most anticipated, most looking forward to seeing?
I mean, the obvious answer is Regan because, like you guys said, he's the best of the three in terms of placings and show wins. Sergio said Brett, so I want to bring up the fact that Justin has such a crazy looking physique. So with his really small waist and like his arms and his biceps,
that front double is just
right.
Fucking
so
nutty.
The thing about Justin is that he hasn't been doing bodybuilding for that long. So I feel
5
like
shows.
he's really, 5 shows, and
one of them's Olympia.
Like he's basically like a newbie in the sport, but he's already proved that he can win shows. So I do think for him taking a year off makes a lot of sense because he's going to come back quite a bit bigger, and I think that's probably like obviously the biggest thing he had to address is just his overall size. So if he puts on the mass on his back and things like that, and he comes back filled out with maximizing his frame with the aesthetics that he's got, I mean, I'm sure he can do really well at the Olympia. So he's also just a cool guy. I mean, they're all cool guys, but Justin's a cool guy, so
yeah, he's funny as hell. I like just, I mean, yeah, his shape is just kind of like so eye drawing when you see it. But yeah, I mean, I could see him definitely being like a really good top 10 guy. I can't remember if he said his injuries affected his leg training at all, because that's the only thing I see like maybe potentially limiting him is he's got that crazy narrow waist, and if he could just get a little bit of that leg sweep, like he could be lights out. But do you remember if he has any issues leg training at all?
So he worked with Eric Seifert while he was up here in Canada, who's my muscle activation therapy guy. He's also the trainer that I work with at Pure Muscle. He basically does both. He does manual therapy, muscle activation. He's a mechanics wizard. And he took a look at Justin and said, it's not really the issue. Like, yes, there is like an injury in his hip from when he was BMXing. He had an injury that he sustained, but he had some knee problems that he was dealing with over the last couple of years, which were just biomechanical issues. So they were able to kind of fix those in the gym, and Eric showed him basically proper mechanics, so to speak. And he's like, oh, my knee pain is essentially gone.
It's
So that's
crazy.
why I feel like learning things like that, because he's a really smart guy.
Yeah, he
Obviously,
is.
just going back home and then applying those things to his leg training, you're totally limited if you're always dealing with knee pain and you're trying to figure out like different ways to tweak your workouts versus just going in there with the confidence that, okay, today I can blast it 100%, my knees aren't going to hurt. I feel like that's really going to propel him. So yeah, I do think that's going to be a huge thing for him.
And that's crazy. You mentioned his knee pain. I see that so much where it's just like you get a little bit of a shape change to like the axial skeleton, and that changes the fluid dynamics that are going on in there. And all of a sudden, it's like some shit you've dealt with, whether it's your shoulder or your knee for like a long time. Just now, you're like, what the, okay, like I'm just in a position where I have more joint space and the fluids aren't present against certain things. Like now I can move comfortably. Like what the fuck? So yeah, that's really cool.
Exactly.
I really like to link up with your guy when I go up there. He'll be out there in Toronto. I'll be out there, like I said, Labor Day.
Yeah, make sure you talk to him ahead of time because he's
Yeah.
going to be booked up quick and he's only there on limited days because the other days that he's not at Pure, he's at his own clinic downtown.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm
Yeah.
sure we could do some stuff with each other. Um, cool. So I sent out a couple questions. You did too, Robin. You got some as well.
Yeah, I had some questions,
I have a
but
couple. I got a couple good ones. I figure we'll go over. We don't have to dive super crazy deep into anything unless we want to. One of the questions that one of my clients had asked was he wanted to know because I talk about like my prep and then my girl and kind of I don't have a lot of help with my prep. I'm kind of like we're separate. She's kind of raising the baby, so it's like she's doing that, which is helping me a lot. Like I don't have to focus on that, and I'm doing mine. But it's like I know a lot of times, like I'm like when I was working on you, Sergio, on your table, it's like, hey, okay, you can start the food, babe, and then girl starts to cook you, and like I missed that. I used to be married to a submissive Asian wife. You know, she's cooked for me all the time. But it's like, how much do your girls help you during your prep? Are they like a big part of that? Do they cook? Do they help you prep? Like, what role do they play? Are you married, Robin?
engaged.
Okay.
Yeah. My girl's amazing, man. She's a competitor as well. Like we go to the gym together, not all the time, but sometimes because she's doing wellness, so she trains legs 3 times a week. But we'll train when we can. Basically just having her around all the time, understanding, supporting me is like it's amazing. I mean, she does everything that I ask her for, and she goes above and beyond. Mostly I do all the cooking, she does all the cleaning. If I'm hurting, she'll cook for me, but we just have like a really good connection. We have like a really good partnership. So I do think it goes a long way for sure.
You think it's probably pretty helpful her competing as well, like having that understanding, of like with the way we can be because we're fucking. There's a lot. I mean, they deal with a lot with us when we're on preps. At least my girls have my ex-wife and my current girl. What about you, Sergio? What kind of help does your girl give? What kind of role does she play? Have you prepped? You prepped with
Well,
her once, right?
no, this will be our first prep. But I was gonna say it's different too when it pays your bills. It would
Yeah,
be like
exactly.
it's really hard to explain to non-bodybuilding people like that eating and even resting is also paying your bills. Sometimes not
Exactly.
doing something, not getting up on your feet, is actually bringing in revenue. So it's just very easy. I mean, obviously, I'm very appreciative, and she also spoils me, but it's an easier investment for her when it's like, okay, if I do this X amount of times a week, X amount of times a month, we can go to the Olympia, you know? It's way different when you have somebody and you're like, hopefully we can get a pro card, or hopefully we can win a local show or a junior show. Then anyone who's got a girl who's like doing stuff like that, it's a very special connection to have. And they're very lucky to have a woman that can understand. Also, it does take years of investing to even get a pro card, to even start making money. But like if we were all going to law school or we were going to medical school and you have somebody who's right trying to take the bar exam or something, and it's like, babe, I need to study. They know if I cook, he can keep studying. He's gonna become a lawyer, and then we're fucking rich. So it's kind of like I also am not gonna date anyone who doesn't understand that this is exactly like having a 10-year of some kind of degree or something. Because right, it took me 10 years just to get my pro card. So it took me 10 years to make $1. And then right, and then in the beginning, I mean, luckily I won my first pro show, but it wasn't like money was rolling in like
Yeah.
that. You can do guest postings and stuff like that, which I stopped doing. But yeah, I mean, look at this. I mean, this house is amazing that we live in, and we have a great life. Neither one of us have a boss. No one tells us what to do. So cooking the meals, and she likes cooking. That's also a thing
Yeah.
too, is that
Okay.
I'm sure your ex enjoyed cooking
She was in
anyway.
culinary school. I wouldn't want my girl now to cook for me.
I mean, if you can fuck up chicken and rice, then maybe.
Yeah,
Uh,
she's Mexican. I thought they were. Her mom always tells me. She goes, "I told her I try to teach her how to cook. I said one day you're gonna have a man, and you're gonna want to cook for him."
she's like, Mom, fuck you. I'm just gonna marry a white guy, and then
Yeah.
it won't matter.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is like so much because I like you said, like I'm not pro, and then is my income going to change a lot if I turn pro? Like I don't, maybe a little bit, but not really. I mean, I make money in person. Like I'm not going to make much more money doing anything else online. And it's like at this point, like I said, we've kind of had like separate ourselves because it's like you said, the rest is so important. And my baby's teething and she's waking up in the middle of the night. And we're bringing her in bed, so it's like just last week I switched into the other room and I'm sleeping there and I feel like an ass, but also, I mean, also I don't, we bring the baby in bed, so I don't want her waking up smelling like, ammonia night sweats from the trend we just kicked in as well. So I like that new baby smell, but yeah, I mean, I'm in the other room and it's like, I hear her, she's frustrated, she's doing everything by herself, but that's her way of supporting me right now. So that is a lot, in some ways I feel pretty bad that we got to put kind of life on hold during prep sometimes. Is there any bad habits or anything you think that is like your girl always has to deal with as far as like your habits or your attitude or the way you do things during prep? Like what makes you
Well,
hard to deal with?
getting irritable, right? Like being irritable and being quiet kind of bothers her, obviously. But she's so amazing, man, because she's, first of all, she's not a pro yet, but she's working towards that. That's her main goal. She wants to go pro in wellness. She switched from bikini. She wanted to go pro in bikini, but she's literally we always kept telling her, like, you're made for wellness. And she's like, no, no,
That's a great
I want to
thing.
have small legs. I'm like, your legs will never be small. But either way, like, she's a hustler. So most of her income she makes through fitness, because she does a lot of posing with her girls. She'll pose bikini and wellness. She does that online and in person. She works for a suit company, so that they make the men's suits, all my suits they make, all the women's suits they make. It's her and another girl. They work, KH Customs is the suit brand. And then she also does like social media managing as well. And then in the evenings, like tonight, she's working at a restaurant and she
How the
serves. So
fuck she
she's
do all
just
that and
like,
compete? That's a
she
lot.
just, and she, yeah, she competes and goes to the gym. So she just like integrated her entire life into fitness, as opposed to, a lot of, the people that she works with, like at the restaurant, for example, like that's just what they do every night. And then they just sleep in and then they go to work, kind of a thing. So she really wants to be in this lifestyle. And she always is super excited to travel with me for shows and be there. And she's just like my number one supporter and my number one fan. So, and it's the same thing when she's competing. I'm like, my fucking heart's beating
You
out of my
coach
chest
her?
because I wanted to win. So, and I coach her as well. So, and
That's tough. I
which
get
is
that.
which is a
Yeah.
hard dynamic
Yeah.
sometimes, but it works for us.
Yeah.
And I've tried doing that with other relationships before in the past, and it didn't work. So I
Yeah.
think, and this is what I said before, is like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if your girl necessarily competes or not, or if they're in the fitness industry or not, but they have to be, it just has to work. Like you guys have to love each other enough to support each other, whatever her passions are, whatever your passions are. You just have to
But not
click.
during prep, right? We don't get to support her during our prep, right? It's like that's on
It's
hold.
a give and take, right? It's a give and take. So when I'm my prep, she's like, like when it's my turn, I'm like, yeah, of course,
Exactly.
right? So
So what
it's
does she
good.
do if you are acting irritable? What is her way of handling that? Does she just give you space, or does she know a way to kind of get through to you?
Well, like I said, she hustles so much, but then like when it comes down to it, if there's something that bothers her, she's very vocal about it, you know. Whereas me, I'm more avoidance based.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh shit, you know what? Like if I'm in a bad mood, better just to be quiet. She's like, if
yeah.
I'm in
No,
a
that
bad
builds up
mood,
though.
she's like, hey, I know you're in a bad mood. Let's figure out why. So
That's good, but sometimes it can be annoying as fuck too. But that's good.
she's
What about you,
very
Sergio?
she's very intuitive, and I think that's important to have someone who's empathetic and intuitive, because then you don't always have to tell them. It's like she understands and she knows, she can already feel it. So then we can have that conversation and we can be open about it, and it's not a big deal, right? So yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just
It's
I
just
just think
trying
like
so hard.
whoever you're with, you just have to love each other, man. At the end of the day, like what else is there? You got you and your girl. At the end of the day, ride or die, fucking love each other.
What about
know
you,
what
big
I mean?
dog?
So, yeah, everybody I feel like that they're maybe not in the right relationship. They're like, oh man, like if I was just with the girl that competed and she would understand, I'm like, it doesn't guarantee anything.
Sometimes that can be really bad
That
too.
sometimes it could be worse.
Yeah.
So right, because then you're with someone who's also self-centered, and if they're using gear, then there's that too. So it's like just
I know,
has to
and
be
then
the right
usually
person.
a lot of times your libidos go the opposite way towards the preps. Girls will drive up if they're on, taking a little bit, and then guys tend to go down a little bit towards the end if we're on the AIs or anything. What about you, Sergio? Do you have anything that she has to deal with? I guess you really don't know that much since you haven't gone through a diet yet together, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
moving. We moved like twice. We moved to Spain and then we moved to America.
You
So,
did that two
uh,
different countries. You can handle anything.
exactly. Yeah, and she did all of it. She like packed all our stuff up and handled the flights and everything. I just paid.
Nice. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, but yeah, and to your girl's defense about you saying she's a hustler, no offense to bikini girls, but there's no hustler bikini girls.
You don't
That's
have,
just,
yeah.
I mean, it's just like what's the hardest thing that they have to train? They use maybe one or two plates on a stack at the most, because now they train them to be smaller. So the workouts are so ridiculous. So you'll see a lot of girls, which is I'm sure it's exactly how your girl is. That's probably why you were telling her your wellness, even besides what I'm guessing she looks like physically. Is there? I know so many women that want to work out hard. They train hard. They train serious. They love training, and that means that a bikini is not for you because you literally need to go in, do the same exercises, do the same weight, and really a bikini competition is only on your diet. That's really it. It really is rare. I mean, you can get some off-season glutes, but it's not like you're trying to make your legs bigger. You're not making your back bigger. I mean, there's tons of posing, I'm sure, but every woman out there, I doubt there's many women that watch your show, but every woman who is out there who is just like, man, I keep having to reduce my training. That means that it's not for you. And it's the same thing for every classic guy who keeps having to lose 15, 20 pounds before their weigh-ins. Classic's not for you. And
Yeah.
that means you're going to go back into the off season and you're literally going to gain nothing. You're going to body build zero. You're going to body maintain or body transfer where you're going to take some 1 pound from your shoulders to put it into your legs. And that's not bodybuilding. So there's just this kind of unspoken thing in the sport where, of course, the sport's not going to talk about it because they want your entry fee. They want your NPC card, IFBB card, whatever it is. And they want you to enter all the shows, especially if you're an amateur, enter the
Yeah.
novice, the over 40, the whatever your height is, the A class, B class, whatever it is. But realistically, if you're having to do so much to try and fit yourself into a class, it's life telling you this isn't for you. Because I don't know how any of these guys are not thinking, holy shit, I'm going to weigh this exact weight for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
What am I like? What's the enjoyment that you're getting out of it? And all it is because they're too scared to go into the open class. And then what they do is whenever there's these boards, I was talking about when I did Jay's podcast, is they'll be like, what do you like better, classic or open? And then they'll use like a picture of like fucking Dave Palumbo, or like Phil Heath's last year, and then they'll use Chris Bumstead,
Well,
and it's for clicks and it's for the views and stuff like that. But realistically, there's so many people that have classic physiques that literally probably, if there was no weight class, could go into the classic and beat them. They could beat
yeah.
guys. You put a Raphael against Urs, and Raphael's going to win. And but they're kind of like covering their eye, like, oh, I don't see them, because I don't want to look like that, or I don't want to take those drugs. When I promise you, the classic guys are taking the same amount of drugs as we are. We just eat way more food and lift way heavier. So yeah, so I'm sure your girl, she just, especially if you guys train together, like sometimes I will with my girl, there's no way that they could do a bikini. But yeah, as in the challenges we've had in our relationship, it's just been life challenges. There's not any kind of prep challenges. I'm excited to get this under our belt. I'm excited for her too, so that way she can know. It's thank God she's into bodybuilding, so she knows how the shows are.
Did she
Because my
compete?
ex, no, she wanted to do a show before, but she didn't do it. But like my ex before didn't do a show and never even went to the gym. So I knew that person is 100% doing these things because they love me and they care about it. But it's also nice to have someone that has an eye and also an understanding. So once we get this prep under our belt, I think our relationship and our life will be a lot easier because she's already doing all these things. Like, you're already going to war. You're already like in the trenches, literally, and you have no of the highs from bodybuilding, you
Did you have
know?
to like
And
preface all this when you got with there? Where you have to like, okay, this is how it has to be if this is going to be something. Like you kind of laid it out for her when you kind of decided to
yeah,
start.
100% where I'm at in my life. I
Yeah,
definitely was
no,
not
for
going to start.
sure.
Yeah, and I'm divorced, so there's no way that I'm gonna go through. I don't want to spend 5 months on the wrong person again. I
Yeah,
need like there's things that yeah take time and you can fix, but there's also huge red flags that a lot of guys are just kind of blind to because it's either the best girl they've been with or the hottest girl they've been with, or honestly they just don't think that they could do better, and then they keep because we all say the same thing like relationships need work or being a spouse of a bodybuilder that takes time, and then when guys are in horrible relationships they hear these things and they go, oh no, no, my wife or my girl doesn't support me at all, she'll come around. Like no, bro, she's never gonna come around. So I want her to have this under her belt because right, she's never been like right, my ex who had never been to the gym and wasn't involved in bodybuilding at all, she had that hearing my name called for first place, seeing me come out on the Olympia stage. That does something, to anyone who loves you, especially someone who is literally the other 50% of why you're there. It's like winning the lottery, and now you know what it feels like when you see that last number be drawn, and it's like, holy shit, our lotto picks were picked. And to have someone doing all that and they've never won the lotto one time, they just keep playing, they just doing scratch offs for a
yeah,
year,
uh-huh.
so I know once we have that, and I know that I'm going to kill it at the next show because not only the new coach, I'm going to look different. Not only the support and stuff out here in Vegas is just overwhelming. Even just having a posing coach I've ever had, I'm going to look like a completely different person. But also, I'm going to be the less stressed I've ever been because also when you are with people who really don't love this and really don't understand, or at least go to the gym and understand what a leg day feels like or a post leg day feels like, uh, you're just going to have a lot less problems, a lot less stress, a lot less fights. So that alone, my cortisol, I think that my cortisol is going to be the best it's ever been at a show. So that alone has been my biggest problem. So I'm excited to get on stage more for her than I am even for myself. Her and Neil, I want to get on stage more.
Yeah. I know she's a little bit younger than you too. Does that ever cause any issues, or does that ever bring up anything? My girl's a little younger too, but your girl's also not from America either, so she's probably like the same. Like they just don't get the references we make sometimes about certain things. Does that ever come
Yeah.
up at all?
Yeah, I mean, our American sense of humor is definitely a little bit different, but no, she's pretty good about that. But I
She's
think
pretty
coming
mature. She seemed pretty
from,
mature when I just talked to her a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. I think I got lucky where she's not really hung around a lot of people her age, so that kind of aged her. But also being in that Russia, Ukraine, Lithuania area, they're bred to be workers, So
Yeah.
the general thing, a 20 something like her, she's going to turn 27 in 2 weeks. A 27, like all the 27-year-olds that she was friends with or even knew, they weren't friends because she didn't have any friends, but the ones she knew in Dubai, they were all disgusting. Every 27-year-old in America is horrible. They're only about one thing. And if you're not about that life, it would be the worst thing to do. So I just got lucky that I think I'm just with, I always tell her she's my little communist workhorse.
She's
Dude, my
Lithuanian,
my
right?
my
Yeah, Lithuania.
grandparents are from the Ukraine, and like my grandmother is like pushing 90 and she still works like 50-hour weeks, man. Like it's just in their bones to work hard. It's wild.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have to mature very fast. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so like our biggest fight is like I have to yell at her to rest because she won't
Mhm.
rest. I think she's watched more TV shows with me than she ever has in her entire life in the last year. But it's different, and it's also understand like when you have like a 9 to 5 job, you have this feeling like, you know what, I can then be like doing some kind of investments, or I can then be trying to study for some kind of course, or I can try to do something with my off time. But I'm finally getting through to her in her head. She's also learning herself too, because it's hard. It's like just leg day today. We have to do so much, get meals in, stretch, go to the gym. So sometimes it's actually really great. And the income that you're getting, you just can't see the number from it, from literally going to the gym, destroying it, and then Netflix and chilling. You are making an income by coming home and then just doing nothing. And especially too, a big thing that she won't learn until probably a couple years in is the brain muscle is the one that gets burned out the fastest in bodybuilders. You get so burned out with, why am I doing this? Is this even worth it? And sometimes all you needed was just a break. Sometimes you just need to not be thinking about bodybuilding, even go on a vacation, turning your phone off, getting off social media. So that's been the hardest part for her, is that we'll get up, do cardio, do abs. I'm doing my exercises for my shoulder. Thank you. And then right, we'll like rest for a little bit, eat a couple meals, then go to the gym, crush it. By then it's like, it's already like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. It is okay to just do nothing, and just eat for the rest of the night. So that being our biggest problem, I know during our prep she's going to be fine, because the majority 27-year-old, it's going to be like, okay, well then, we live in Vegas. Like, why can't we go to something out in the strip? That's what a normal 27 would want to do. And she never wants to do that.
Yeah, you brought up something that I think does ring true for a lot of us, is kind of like, this is everything, and sometimes we can get burnt out. Like, a lot of us don't have a lot of hobbies besides bodybuilding. That was one of the questions someone had a little bit later. Do you guys have any other interests or any hobbies that you're pretty active in outside of bodybuilding?
Yeah, I play like trading cards quite a bit, Yu-Gi-Oh, stuff like that. Video games as well. I also
What kind of games? I fucking want to play video games so bad. I just don't have any fucking time.
Oh, right now I'm playing Diablo 4 because I got a couple buddies on there, and actually Eric plays that too, so I play with him on there.
I like the real RPGs. That's too much action RPG. I want to be a fucking nerd and be like an elf in the dungeon or some shit.
Oh, like World of Warcraft or something? Yeah.
Like Baldur's Gate, kind of stuff. Like old school computers. I have a PS5, but I haven't played. I played SpongeBob with my son. That's one thing I played in 2 years with it. But I'm into the RPGs. Like, I lost the whole like 2 years of my life when I was a teenager to that shit, like World of Warcraft type of shit.
It's too intense for me, man. Like, a lot of the times I'm just trying to like relax more, so I'll play like just like card
Diablo's
games.
intense. You're fighting like demons and shit.
No, it's not that intense. I mean, like, that's probably the most intense thing I would play, though, just to give you an example, versus like a turn-based strategy, like a
Yes, I like, yeah.
Card games, yeah, online card games, stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
and so what about you, Sergio? You have any other hobbies?
Yeah, I mean, I used to be a really big gamer, but it actually used to take over my life where,
We're so obsessive with our brains. It's hard to not let shit take over.
well, it was just because I would do online games, and online games, it's made to where if you take a break, everybody else gets better than you.
You
And
play like
that
sports games or what?
no, even like a Call of Duty or Gears of War or stuff like that, where you're upgrading your person, no matter what, like the more you're playing, the more better you're getting. So taking time away from it, the thought of someone getting better than me, I mean, I guess I'm obviously using it in bodybuilding because that also bothers me. But I was just getting too addicted where I was just spending too much time, on. So what I did is, like, I mean, it's probably like more than 10 years ago now. I just got off anything online, and I just do campaign. So campaign is good because I can just play and then pause it, turn it off, and then take it up again whenever I have time. So that's been a lot better, but I definitely need something where I can turn my brain off. I definitely get, I've already been at least twice in my career where I'm just like, fuck bodybuilding, and that's not good. It's not like I'm like in the running to win the Olympia and I'm starting to like get like overwhelmed. It's like I'm just trying to get qualified. So that's also a big sign that you need to be able to take some time to turn your brain off. And right, even if it's like playing cards, even if it's like something like Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm sure for him, it's no matter what, is the brain is off and the bodybuilding thinking is off, and there's no like double thinking or stressing or anything like that. But my biggest thing my whole life has been, because I worked at Blockbuster and Hollywood Video my whole life, is movies. I'm a big movie buff. I don't think there's any movie I haven't seen since probably like 1990 that's like worth watching. I used to like make a list and then literally want to watch every single movie that ever existed. So like whenever shows come out, I can really get really addicted to shows.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I had later. Like, what are your guys' favorite shows, and is it a different show with your girl? Like, what do you guys watch?
Dude, whenever
Yeah,
I find it's so funny, whenever I find a good show with my girl, because I don't really watch that much. She'll watch more than me generally. But if we do find a good show together, we'll watch like one episode, and I'll be like, all right, cool, we'll watch the next episode tomorrow. And then she'll be like, all right, cool, and I'll go to bed at like 10
She fucking
o'clock.
cheats on you.
Yeah, and then I'll wake up in the morning and she'll be like, babe, I'm sorry, I watched the whole season. I'm like, what?
That's me.
Like, she's like, don't worry,
No
you can catch
loyalty.
up. I'm like, I'm never gonna catch up. Like, so I don't know.
I do that all the time.
Nah, I would break up with her if she did that. That's like breaking up terms. But like the boys, I'm watching the
I
boys
love
right
the
now.
boys. I love the
Yeah, yeah,
boys.
yeah. The boys is
Does
it's
your
so
girl watch
smart.
it? She's into it, or it's a little much?
So it was just one of those things where she would watch the boys, but she would have to watch the first two seasons to catch up, and I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna wait. So some things, like some movies, like we just watched A Quiet Place because I want to go watch the new one.
Yeah.
So
There's
some
like
things I'll
three
give
now,
her.
right? Did the
Yeah, the
third one
third
come
one
out?
just yeah, third one. Yeah. So like the Star Wars, I like sat with her and we watched all the old Star Wars. So like she'll sit through and she'll watch them, but sometimes I don't even want to take the time for her to catch up. Like the House of Dragons, I'm gonna watch myself because there's no way by the time she watches Game of Thrones and the first season of House of Dragons, it'll take her a year. So, and she also cannot watch anything and just watch it. She has to be doing something.
Yeah.
She has to
See,
be
that drives me
working
crazy
or
with my girl. Like, I get it if
right.
there's
Because
certain
then
things, but if there's like one thing, there's just this one. That's like kind of House of
yeah,
Dragon, I guess.
and then they're like, I'm watching, and then they totally miss something, so important.
Exactly. I'm
So
like, she's like, don't bring your phone. Just this one time. She's like, we're just watching TV. I go, I know, but I want to be present with you, not talking to each other or doing anything else.
exactly, yeah.
Uh,
So I think every girl watches the true crimes. We watch the true crimes. Right now, we're watching that Jake Gyllenhaal, Presumed Innocent. It's probably the best legal
oh, yeah.
show I've watched in a long time, a long, long time. And I wanted to be a lawyer when I was young, so I really like a lot of like true crime or even just kind of legal shows. And Jake Gyllenhaal is really good, so I recommend that if anyone's not watching on Apple. It is really good.
Your girls don't do any of the stupid reality shit like 90 Day or
No, it's me. It's me. I'm the one. But I
it's
only
too.
watch one. I only watch three. So I watched the challenge, which
You only watch one. It's actually three.
okay. Well, because the other
The
two
other
don't
way,
count.
the other way is good.
One Amazing Race is one of my top ones, but I feel like that's a learning show. You learn so
Yeah.
much. It's educational. It's not a reality show. And then Survivor, I really like. I probably want to go on Survivor or Amazing Race at some point in my life. And then no, the challenge. I don't know if you watch this MTV challenge. It's like the
Used to,
longest
yeah.
show. It's the
Yeah.
longest show on TV. I think it's been on for like 20 years.
I remember when Theo
Uh,
Vaughn was on that back in the day. I was watching that.
yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I watch, but that's it.
Yeah. My girl's into the all the stupid reality, but it's like it gets you. Like if you're not trying to watch it, but it's just on the background, you'd be like, wait a minute, what crazy? And then she watches the
Yeah.
Spectrum thing, Love on the Spectrum, and I'm
Oh
like
God.
shit. I'm like that girl's a little hot. Fuck, I don't know what to think about this. I'm like, I don't want to watch this. This is weird.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of cute ones on it, but yeah, she loves the 90 Day while she was going through like her pregnancy. The last when she was on maternity leave, it was just all 90 Day, and I got obsessed with that. And I'm like, I got like I said, with our brains, we get so obsessed. I gotta just shut shit off, otherwise I'll get way into it. A good
No,
show that we watched.
everyone should have watched the 90 Day Fiance with the no neck.
Oh, Ed.
Ed.
Classic.
No, yeah, because when I was in San Diego, he lives there. I wanted to do a photo shoot with him. It was something I was going to do right before I went to Dubai because he's a photographer in San Diego, and I thought that would be so sick
That's
to just do a
hilarious.
photo shoot with him. But yeah, that's the only 90 Day I watched, and then I tried to watch another one after that, and that season was so good. Every single couple was such a mess that I can't watch. I can't watch any of the other ones now. I was peaked with
I
Ed.
actually I used Cameo to propose to my fiance, and I used the gay guys from 90 Day, and I saw Big Ed on there. He's making money. He's like one of the most popular guys. But yeah, I
Holy
had a whole
shit!
Cameo thing set up with the I don't know if you know them, the gay guys, the older guy and the Mexican guy, and had like a whole little thing played out for them. It was supposed to be for Valentine's Day, but he ended up like throwing a proposal at the end of it. It was funny. It was cool.
That's
But
awesome.
my mom was just out here, and she saw somebody from like the Housewives show, and she fucking like jumped out of the booth and like ran across the restaurant to go see her. And I'm just like, oh my god. I was telling Robin earlier, like yesterday, I ran into David Spade, just the most random, like he's just talking to me
Oh
randomly
shit!
about hot dogs. I'm like, I'm so not excited to meet any famous people. My mom's like freaking out about this reality star. I worked in Hollywood, and I've worked with some pretty big directors and like actors, so it's like I'm used to that. Is there anyone you guys would be starstruck at all to meet, or anyone you'd like to meet? I mean, when I met Arnold, I kind of was like, "Fuck yeah!" But other than that, I don't know if I get too hyped up anymore.
I don't think. Yeah.
You probably met a ton of people, Sergio. You probably anyone that like you were really excited. Usually, I feel like it's people that we idolized growing up. You know, when I met Frank Zane, I was super amped about that. Or when I met Hermosi, I was pretty excited because we're in the same field. You know, and he's like at the top of the field.
Yeah, obviously I got spoiled growing up in the sport. So like me, when I met Arnold the first couple times, it was really cool.
You're
And
like
then
baby.
and then well, yeah, and then I met him in Australia when I was like competing. And then him giving me that award and we had that whole little speech on stage. So that was kind of cool. But it wasn't like where I was like so nervous I couldn't talk because I've already like known of him and he's been around my life, you know, because he came to Chicago when I was really young. He stayed at my house. I obviously was like a baby. I was like very young. But yeah, I know that's a good question of like who would you see that would really, because The Rock, I mean, I don't think I would be like that crazy. It would probably be like someone like Larry David,
I
someone
was about to
who
say a
you would never,
comedian, maybe. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, someone you definitely would never expect a bodybuilder to be that crazy over.
What about you,
I
Robin?
would say probably, honestly, probably Dorian Yates, man. Like I thought it was so cool that you were
Yeah.
training with Dorian Sergio, and that's like obviously like many bodybuilders. I've been a huge fan of him for a long time, so that's probably like out of because I met like a good amount of bodybuilders that I've been big fans of, because a lot of them are like at the expos and at the Olympia and even at like Toronto Pro, like stuff like that. But yeah, I haven't been able to meet Dorian yet,
Damn.
face to
Dorian's
face.
cool.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
least I
Yeah.
can say,
So
at least I can say that when you, if you met him, he would be one of the people that when you met, it would be even better, you know, because the whole "don't meet your heroes" thing, it wouldn't apply to him because I feel like he's a way better person than he was. I feel like if we met him when he was competing, it would have been kind of lackluster. He was
yeah.
just so like closed off and just monster, you know, level that I think it probably would have came off kind of like shitty when he's really only in that level because that's what he had to do to get to where he's at. But the person he is now, I don't think anyone who like loves him for the blood and guts would meet him and then walk away saying he's not cooler. He's like he's cooler now than he was then, even though he doesn't look
He's a good
like what he
advertisement for
did.
ayahuasca, right? He said that helped him a lot.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah, for
totally
sure.
180,
A
man. He
lot of
changed a
stuff.
lot.
I'll put you on the spot though, Robin. Who's someone that you met and then wasn't a good reaction or like a good experience?
I hate to say it, but Jay Cutler, because I've met him.
What?
I've met him, and he's so I met him before I did my first show, and he autographed. I had like a picture of him, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm doing my first show," and he was like, "Yeah, to Robin, like good luck in your first show." And then I met him again, and I was like, "Hey Jay, do you remember me? Like, can we get a picture together?" He's like, "No, I don't remember you." I'm like, "Damn it!" I'm like, "Okay, now I'm a pro." I'm like, "Okay, this time I'm gonna impress him. I'm big now. I'm like, hey Jay, I met you before. Like, can we get another picture together?" And he was just like, he didn't
He
even
still
say
didn't.
anything. I was like, God damn it.
Oh,
So
I
next
I met Jay
time
after a year and a half of not seeing him. He
I'll be
recognized
like,
me.
Jay, I'm qualified for the Olympia. Let's get a picture together. And he'd be like, congrats. And I'll be like, thank you.
He's
And
like,
then that'll
all
be
right,
it.
bro. Now I remember you, bro.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
That's
bro. Good job.
He
that's so
must he
funny.
must he must have been distracted because I know that he's like some people, some amateurs doing novice show at his Jay Cutler Classic. So some of them got like the best
Yeah,
response
that
and
was me.
from him. Yeah. So I
That's what I
think it
mean.
was
That's
just
why, yeah, I hate to say it because it's always like he walks in somewhere, everybody wants his attention. I just happen to like get my way over to him first and be like, hey, can we get a picture? And he's like, here we go, kind of a thing. Let's get these done, right? So I totally get it. That's why I don't think anything bad of him. I think he's fucking awesome. I just want him to be like, hey, I see you, man. I'm like,
I'm gonna
yeah,
I'm gonna
cool. All right.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell him.
Yeah, Jay's funny. He's funny. I
Yeah.
love Jay. Um, I mean, I met so many people when I was in Hollywood. I really liked Will Ferrell. He was a really nice guy. Sometimes you meet somebody right, and you're like, please be like how I envision you, and he was exactly like you would want him to be. He was hilarious and super friendly, really cool. We were talking about stand-ups. That was another question someone had. Who's your guys' favorite stand-up?
Ooh.
I'm huge into
Oh,
stand-up. You know, I lived right in Hollywood, so I was going to the store all the time. Here we get all the big acts coming through the improvs.
Man, I haven't watched it.
Before all the election and political stuff, I was really loving Scholes. I wanted to go see him. He came to Abu Dhabi, but I didn't get a chance to go. I was really liking him, but I'm really
Like, I
hating
can't
every
stand
comedian.
Schultz.
Every comedian right now is getting so caught up in the election that it's
We were
making me
talking about
hate
that
all
before
of
you
them.
jumped on. Yeah, me and Robin. We're talking about the debate.
I hate all of them. I hate everyone.
Yeah.
Anyone who spends money to put a president on their hat or their shirt, or like, it's just so insane, because you really think that this person cares about you, and you really think that they got to that place in power by not lying. And I think it's actually very impressive. It's very impressive to know someone's lying to you, and you just say, yeah, but I like them. It's a cool thing. I understand when you're like, I hate this guy so much that I'm going to vote for this person. That I completely understand. But to
That
spend
sucks.
money, that's United States stuff.
Yeah.
But to spend your hard-earned money, especially bodybuilders, like all the fitness people in it, like, it's so insane. We make no money, and now you're going to give
Duplo.
money. Oh my God! Well, you gotta take anyone who lives in Texas out of the conversation, because it's not their fault. They are so brainwashed from birth that it's really not their fault. But if you are spending your hard-earned money to give to someone who is already stealing your money and is rich, then you are the biggest fool. Like, you're just literally the biggest fool. I understand when people are like, "Oh, I just can't stand this person." Like I said, you can't argue with that. But when you want to project this person off of your chest or your hat or on your car, like, you are literally sad. You are very sad. And I hate that they don't have anyone around them telling them, like, what are you doing? Can you imagine buying a Biden shirt or a Trump hat?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, yeah, this guy, like, you idiot. When the last guy was in office, he cuts your Medicare and your Social Security, and you're literally losing money. And this guy is now putting the country into the fucking dumpster. Which one of them makes you think, you know what? I know I'm paying the most I ever have on taxes. I know that I got so much cut for me. I have to spend so much for Medicare, like, even just to go to the hospital, you cut yourself and it's so expensive. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give it to that president. That's who really deserves my money. So those are the only people that I hate, and I don't understand how famous people keep backing either one of them. It's just so crazy. Like, I
So what
think
did
not
Schultz
voting.
do?
I mean, it's just so easy. It's just so easy to make fun of Biden. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's
How
more
dirty
that
is.
I think it's just going with what seems to already be wanted. I don't think there's anyone with a right mind that is like, man, you know what? This Trump guy is such a good human being. Like, he really is such a kind person. And I want my daughter to date him. No, you're not. It's just because sometimes it's the cool thing to do, to go for somebody. Or what's happening a lot in the media too, with like a lot of people that are like backed by liberal people, you can't be against Biden, because then you're going to be dropped or whatever it is. And the same thing, like, maybe even for Trump too. I'm sure maybe if you're backing Trump, then you're probably going to lose sponsors, or you're going to lose followers and stuff like that. So I understand when you have to kind of play the game, which I'm sure that's what he's doing. Not to get sidetracked with your question about
No,
stand-up
it's all
people,
good. I love it.
but yeah, I think those are the biggest clowns in the world, and I hate moving back during this election year. My girlfriend already is like, every commercial is some, oh my God, the illegals, they're stealing your jobs, they're stealing the black jobs, or it's like something about we need to protect for abortion. Every commercial, and she's been in the country for like 2 months and she's already sick of it. And I was like, it hasn't even got bad. It
We're
is gonna
living in an
get
SNL skit, you know?
Yeah, it's funny that you
it.
mentioned that about the people who buy like all the Trump stuff. Because I actually lived with a guy, and he was like, he had the Trump hat, he had the Trump shirt, like he just kept buying Trump apparel, and he turned out to be a complete fucking dickbag. So that makes a lot
What
of
a
sense, man. It makes a
What a
lot of
shock. Yeah, what a shock. Well,
yeah.
actually, like, I mean, we were talking about the last time on the show, is like, there's certain bodybuilders that have became a ambassador for a particular kind of people in bodybuilding, right? You have like Nick Walker, right? You have like Lee Haney and Dorian, all these Mr. Olympias backing him. But there are so many people who want to look like a mutant monster that feel like he's their Trump. They love him,
Mhm.
and then you have back in the day, right? How many people were reaching out to tattooed motorcycle murderers like Rich Piana. There was nobody, you know? So as long as you're that person reaching out, and then he had his whole 1%, it was very smart. You could be rich and reach millions if you're the only person reaching those people. And that's exactly what Trump is he's someone who now is giving a voice to, unfortunately, a lot of bad people. I think what he does is he says a lot of things that a lot of politicians don't say. And then that makes people who are not bad people say, man, you know what? It's so nice to have a regular person just speaking. It's not
just
like
to hear a full sentence is all. Like that's pretty much it for me. At least he can say one sentence, you know, get a coherent one out. I think anyone that identifies with Trump is like kind of fucking, like you said, they're like, to like see that as like this is our savior. Like that's my mom right now. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, so that's the only thing. So I understand when you're like, man, you know what? I've never had a guy talk about the things that I care about. I like this guy. Right, exactly. So it makes sense. But what I don't understand is when they're praising them like they literally are Jesus Christ, and you're saying that this person is the best human being, or even like Biden, like, oh my God, this person is so kind because he's cutting my school loans and he did lower the cost of insulin and stuff like that. But we're going to be blind to all the stuff that's going on in China where they're making money, you know, like all the side stuff that they're doing that is illegal. No matter how hard you love someone, you can't ignore that stuff. And you can be like, hey, look, I don't like this person, but I dislike them less than I do the other person. Perfect. That's a perfect response of why you're voting. Because I think not voting is also very bad. I think that that's also a problem. But if you're like, this person is the second coming of Jesus Christ, and you have pastors and churches that are like, oh, you need to go. That's another thing too. The mix of religion and politics, it makes me so sick. And being the 3 years out of this country, it really made me appreciate the United States. I really miss a lot of things that we take for granted here. But it also made me look about how obsessed we are with religion and how much we use it to make rules and also judge people. It's so crazy that religion's the whole don't judge, turn the other cheek, but they're the most judgmental people, is the religious people. Jewish, Christian, whatever it is, you are the most. If you are not thinking how I'm thinking, you are the problem. And that is literally the opposite of what God is supposed to be about. So that's the worst thing, is that it's really starting to make me dislike a lot of people, even Saturday Night Live. Like I love Saturday Night Live. I don't know why people bash it. Like they say the last Saturday Night Live was good. It was like, well, I mean, it was good, but now during election year, I mean, we all know NBC is ran by certain people. So there is, like, we can joke about Biden and his like age, but they're not making any jokes about any kind of like bad shit he's doing. They're only making the jokes about Trump's bad dealings on the side, you know? So like what I'm saying is, even the shows that I just enjoy to watch to get away from reality are so stuck on this election that it's just ruining so many people that I like. And even a Curb Your Enthusiasm, you know, it's just it's so smart, it's so good, but even them, they're starting to put politics into it, and it's just really hard because there was no politics in Seinfeld. It was just a show you could just watch, and then that was it. You don't, like, how long was Seinfeld on? How many elections are in any of the episodes? None. You know, we don't have one president. I think they made a joke about Clinton one time, and that was it. So that's really now my new favorite, is when I can watch something and they're not having anything to do with fucking politics.
Yeah.
What about you, Robin? Who's your favorite stand-up comedian?
Dude, top three probably Kreischer, Burr, and Delia.
I love Bert. Yeah. I love and hate Bert. He kind of, like, I've seen him a couple times. He's entertaining, but like, yeah, sometimes I can't stand listening to him either. You know what I mean? Like a little bit, he'll just take over, interrupt his guest. I'm like, oh, I want to hear that story, and now it's about yourself, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Who else? You said Bert, and who else?
Burr and Chris D'Elia.
You said Burr and Chris D'Elia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bill Burr.
Man, not a lot of people showing Chris D'Elia love anymore, man. That's pretty rare nowadays.
He's funny, man. Fuck, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean,
Kreischer's great too. I love Kreischer. Yeah, he's hilarious, man.
Yeah, I mean, D'Elia was huge. I saw him a couple times. Then he had all the got canceled, got the Me Too and stuff. Now he still gets gigs canceled sometimes. It kind of sucks, you know.
Yeah.
I really like Theo. I've seen Theo a couple times, and Jim
you said Theo. Yeah, I was gonna say him too. Yeah, he's also really fucking funny.
Shane Gillis is great. I've seen him a couple times too. He seems to be.
I haven't actually watched him. I'll check him out though.
Yeah, Shane's big. He's real big right
Yeah,
now.
nice.
So I got a question from a Reddit post I put in. I think it's a pretty good one. I really like this topic, and I figured you guys will have some good opinions, especially you, Robin. Actually, this kind of applies to you a little bit, I guess. So one of my so what they had asked was, what is your opinion on the influx of the exercise science kind of influencer into the fitness and bodybuilding world, even if they don't compete? Or I guess you could also throw if they do compete, but they're not that great at it, maybe. What are your thoughts on that whole, guys? We see a lot more evidence-based training, and I think a lot of ways that can be really good, but in some ways it may be limiting and a little bit narrow-minded as well. Do you have any opinion on that, Rob? I know you just had Mike on, and Mike's probably the biggest exercise scientist guy there is right now. Did you learn a lot? I saw one person put a pretty funny comment on your thing, because Mike was talking about the consecutive shows, and they're like, you're talking to Robin and Joe, two guys that are fucking shredded out of their mind, and they're listening to the advice from someone who hasn't really presented that themselves. And you had a really nice diplomatic reply, of course, because you're super nice. So we can always get information from other people. But I thought that was funny. I'm like sitting there, I'm like, you're telling two guys that are fucking dice to the bone every single time.
Yeah, I don't know. My opinion, I guess, is like, I mean, information is always good, but I think a lot of people get caught up in information, and that's ultimately not what
Paralysis by analysis, right?
exactly. So bodybuilding is training your body. And I think the only way you get better at that is by training your body in the gym, putting in the time, putting in the effort. You can't really teach that. You can't really explain that. Where it does come in helpful is like, for example, once you start dealing with injuries, now you can actually get someone who knows what they're talking about in terms
But
of
I would say
biomechanics.
that's a little different. If we're talking about biomechanics, I think there's an obsession on exercise science, on volume, on nutrition and post nutrition and exercise setup and programming. I kind of separate that from biomechanics, because biomechanics kinesiology, that's a different thing than exercise science. You know, if you get an exercise science PhD, you're taking very little kinesiology. So I consider that actually way more important. I think biomechanics is what a lot of these people that are really heavy in these evidence-based research studies, that really a lot of times they don't apply anything. I mean, it's fucking impossible to get a good study on hypertrophy. You're not going to be able to really control to see the single variable you're trying to see, right? You're not going to control someone's diet to the T. You're not going to control how good they sleep, what their hormonal snapshot is, what their stress levels are. So I feel like a lot of these evidence-based guys will extrapolate something from a study and try to apply it in real life, and maybe it makes like a 0.5% difference, probably doesn't. And I think that people play way too much in that, instead of, like you were talking about, thinking and focusing on the biomechanics, because I don't see that. I see the obsession over the stuff that's a little bit easier to comprehend, possibly. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, my education's in kinesiology, so I mean
Yeah, exactly.
that's where my head always goes. But like, I'm a bodybuilder at heart, so I just believe in hard training. Ultimately, uh, whatever the science says, it's going to be trumped by the effort that you put in over an extended period of time. Period. So, I mean, that's
I
pretty
see a
much.
lot of new lifters worrying about like reps in reserve and exactly how much volume should I do. Am I overtraining? I'm like, I mean, most people are pussies. Most people aren't overtraining. There are people that overtrain, and you know that's not a good thing. But I don't see kids in the gym nowadays just fucking working out so hard. I see them like doing weird, over exaggerated stretches and trying to like really connect and do things. I don't see crazy effort. So I feel like some of these exercise science evidence based guys almost shit on that effort, like it's like a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I'm not talking about anyone in
Yeah,
particular. I'm not trying to get you to say anything or anything like that. I'm just
no,
saying I
no,
feel
it's
like
just like it's hard to have an opinion because I just think that you need to have
having an opinion is the
effort, you
easiest
need
thing
to
in the
have
world. You don't got to know
intensity.
shit.
Yeah, and you need to have, skin in the game ultimately. Like you got to be in the game to understand the game. So, sitting from looking from the outside in, that I don't think that really helps anybody long term. I think like
Like,
I said, skin in the game, and ultimately success leaves clues. So for when people say, "Hey, like these bodybuilders are doing things wrong," like they're clearly not, right? So I mean, you can't argue with results. You just can't, right?
did you see Jeff Nippard? I think that's somebody that they're referring to as well. He was up at Pure recently, right?
I think Jeff's great, man. I think out of
I've
most
never
of the
heard anything
guys,
Jeff said, by the way. Like, I don't know anything about
no,
him.
if so, out of all of the videos that are put out by like exercise, I guess, scientist guys, Jeff is probably the best in terms of his information is concise. For example, it's like, here's a good way to structure a leg day, and here's why. It just makes sense. And that's probably what a bodybuilder would do. So it goes hand in hand with like, well, I see him every single day at the gym and he trains hard. So he's got skin in the game, plus he's got the education. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of Jeff. Huge fan for sure.
What about you, Sergio? What is your opinion?
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I just think also the biggest problem now is that we did it too when we were growing up. It was just DVDs because there was no internet. But when we want to look like somebody, we watch them work out, right? And then we think, oh, this is the exercise that they're doing to get whatever they have. Like if you're watching something with someone who has big legs and then now they're doing some leg exercise, you're like, oh, that's what I need to be doing. It's very hard to understand that realistically the thing that most bodybuilders have their best assets in, they did from the beginning of their training, and now they're not actually doing that anymore. So if you see them training something, they're more trying to fill in the gaps. They're trying to fill in what they don't have. So the worst athletes that you could really be watching if you're just getting into the gym are people competing in the Olympia, unless they're really scientifically breaking it down or explaining why they're doing this so that way you understand what they're doing. You're going to only be training and getting the muscles that they're lagging in. So you're not even going to get the ones, because there's nobody who has like I don't know, like good shoulders, and now the majority of their workout is like rear delts, and now you're like, man, his anterior is so sick, but he did one press for it. Well, that's all I need to do. So it's very hard to understand that these guys, because like, look, I bought Dexter Jackson's DVD, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna have abs like him. He didn't do one rep of abs and all of his DVDs, because also too, we all do the same thing too. Like mine was like, I would just do arms all the time, working out in my basement. A lot of times the guys that have like their best body part, that's all they did in the beginning, like Sean Roden and Dexter, they just would be those doing abs guys, almost like prison workouts. And now that they're humongous, they don't really need to focus on those things anymore. So if you even see them doing some stuff, like I remember Kevin Leverone's DVD, he's doing those rope crunches. He had been doing so many things for his obliques and his lower abs his whole life that's what now he's trying to focus on. So I'm doing the rope, and my lower abs are not getting any better, and I'm wondering why my abs do not look like Kevin Leverone. And then you start to make your own videos yourself as a pro, and you start to realize I'm not putting any of the things in here that I did to get my good body parts. So when you see people doing one arm stuff, like it's like the whole gasp following. It's always some guy in the gym wearing gas, better bodies. They have to be doing some one arm row variation because they saw someone that they like doing it. When you literally have no muscle at all, you weigh like nothing. You're a skinny kid. You can just do both arm lat pull down. It's okay. You don't need to be doing a single ISO movement. So that's just the biggest problem, is that we want to look like people, and then we think if I just watch them or see whatever they're doing, then I can look like them. If I watch what they're eating or what they're taking, then that's what I can do. When they're not doing exactly what he said, is they're not figuring it out on their own. You're never really learning your own body.
Yeah, and that's kind of the opposite of the spectrum too. You don't want to be either way. Like you don't want to listen to somebody who is like looks like a fucking monster, but they don't know how they got there. They're not gonna be able to tell you. Then you also, I feel like some of these evidence-based guys are like really dismissive of something that doesn't fit into their thought process. If it doesn't make sense their way, like I see them critiquing like Hani and Bumstead. I'm like, okay, well, Hani kind of knows a thing or two. Like I don't know. Like maybe his experience with exercise science is equivalent to some of the courses you took.
Mm-hmm.
But I
But
think
he's
it's
true.
interesting.
Go
It's a
ahead.
good thing overall. I just think we need to like make sure we don't go overboard and lose ourselves in the details, right?
But like you said, yeah, the results don't lie. But also, if I wanted to, let's say, look like Branch Warren, and I watched his DVDs, I would never look like Branch Warren. I would be in the hospital. So some guys' training is so ridiculous that you can't argue. Who's going to tell Branch or Johnny Jackson that their training did not work? Johnny Jackson was Mr. Olympia upper body all day. He was almost the same back, almost as Ronnie Coleman. He had the same abs as Dexter Jackson. His chest is so big, his nipples are gone. You never go see Johnny Jackson's
so
nipples. They're like underneath. And but if you try to do that form, you know, you would for sure get injured. So it's really tough when you start talking about actual pros and open pros. It's a way different level of weight management and the open level. Like to maybe want to look like a classic guy, I feel like maybe I could watch their stuff and kind of get some ideas. But from an open guy, I think you just have no clue what's really going on behind.
I'm curious actually, Sergio. So from training with Dorian, do you still train a similar way now, or have you gone through that, learned some things, then kind of gone back to your own thing?
Yeah, even when I was out there, he only wanted to train like 3 days a week. Like he thought that that was enough. And like I just wanted to not be that guy to be like, well, no, I'm not going to listen. So in the beginning, I just did everything that he said. But resting for 4 days, it was just like I'm whittling away. My body
Bored.
wants to go back to being, I won't go back to being skinny. And I also don't have the type of back he had where you can hit back once. I have to hit back twice. I have to either hit some kind of widening day or thickening or lower upper, some kind of where I'm, you know,
And judging's
sectioning
changed a
off.
little bit too.
Oh, I mean, don't get me started with that. I would get into an argument with him all the time about how I have to do glutes. That's something I have to do. And that because he had glutes, you don't need to train glutes now. But that's not true. You absolutely have to. I have to separate quads and hamstrings. Even bodybuilders today don't have to. I know some guys doing them together, but I do. My legs are almost the same height as some guys in bodybuilding. So I can't just do both in one day. I have to separate them. So to answer your question, when I was in Dubai, they had like it was like an arcade of machines. It was like literally being a gamer, and now you have every type of cool, fun roller coaster rides of machines that I didn't do free weights. I realized I didn't do a dumbbell row or a bent over barbell row for an year and a half. And it was just because you have these like Ferrari,
Yeah, all these
you know,
toys.
Gym 80, Panada, New Tech. You have so many
Do you think
cool
that
things.
limited your progress at all, or do you think it was the same?
No, no, no. The best I ever looked was in Dubai, for sure,
Yeah. Yeah,
easily.
you fucking
It,
right
it
before you
was,
went to jail,
yeah,
you mean, or what?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're
exactly.
looking fucking
Yeah,
big.
it was easily the best I ever was. But it was also the drugs that were out there too. So was it because I wasn't doing free weights? No, absolutely not. It's because I probably took real GH for the first time in my life. Because honestly, I don't think that I ever really took real GH before
I
Dubai.
know, man. It's fucking crapshoot.
That's probably the one thing in bodybuilding that's always going to be this like, am I taking real? I don't know. You
I
know?
mean, I've had symptoms before. I don't feel nothing now. Am I used to it? Is it gone? Like, what the
Yeah. You know, all the things that we use to measure it, it's like, oh my God, my hand's not getting numb. Like that's not a for
that's all we
sure way to
go.
know, you know? And then the other way, at least in the beginning, was is if you have some kind of pharma grade, like if you're taking Pfizer, GH, then you don't have to worry. But now those are fake.
I've
Now
had it show
all
my
the
IGF before. I've checked the blood work and it's raised my IGF a little bit, but then I've had it not, and then I've heard that doesn't indicate it either. So like, I don't fucking know.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah. So, so I know that that was a big deal. It was actually being out there and some taking some Middle Eastern drugs, so that definitely helped. But also, I didn't like the people, so I definitely was not spending any time with them. It was so fucking hot, so you're not going out. So I also was just going home to the gym, and then you're so bored, you just go to the gym again at night. I would go to the gym at like midnight because you could. So
Single, right?
that's
You were
probably
single at the time?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just
Yeah,
grinding. Yeah.
that wouldn't matter now. I'm gonna do that here in Vegas too. I'm gonna get a key to one of these gyms and I'm gonna start going twice a day because I do believe in two a days. That's something that I really put on. Like one year I put on like 80 pounds in a year. It was just so nuts.
I
But I
love to
think
do
I
two
was able.
days.
Yeah, but that's where it's at, man. It really is. As long as you're smart about separating your body, because like you said, who's overtraining and really just isn't eating enough is really the problem. Um, but so either way, so I was in Dubai. To answer your question, take 10 minutes to answer one question. Is I was in Dubai, right? I'm using all these toys, and then I realized, holy shit, I'm not using these things anymore. And then I went to go train with Dorian, and there was no machines. I didn't use one single machine one time that I was there. I was going on my day off, going to another gym. It was like an oxygen gym, and I was messing around with some gym 80 stuff. So, because some machines today are really good. I don't care how many
Oh,
stand
yeah.
downs you have. They're fucking excellent. And especially for guys like us too, we're not fucking 5'8", 5'9". We're not that short. So machines that are fit to our bodies, man, it's just like almost working out for the first time. You know, you're finally connecting and not, you know, using your assisting muscles so much. So either way, so I was doing a little bit on the side, but I did love that, man. I'm back to trying to get up to doing 4 plates on a bent over row. It's a good measurement of really progress, because putting another plate on a machine, you can cheat, you can yank it, you could get the weight moving. There, I mean, as long as you're not coming up and down doing a deadlift when you're rowing, there's no way of cheating. Like, you're either doing it right or not. So when you put another plate or a quarter or whatever you go up on, it is a good measurement of your progress. So I really liked doing that. All the weights were free weights. Using that Nautilus pullover machine for the first time was really great. So, but I did learn one thing from him, form wise, that I'll use for the rest of my life. So, to finally answer your question, so like the things that he taught me on form, I'll use forever. But I still love these Ferrari machines. But I'm also remembering too that when I did do bent over rows, like I would do like the T-bar and like Panada stuff in Dubai, and I have like 5, 6 plates on there. It's very heavy and it was a lot of weight. But then when I'm training with Dorian, I can't even do 315 on a bent over barbell with like really good form. So it did make me realize, like, what am I doing? Because this is what I started with. This is what we all started with. So now I'm doing both. So now I'm using the form that he taught me. I am still making sure that I'm at least doing bent over rows, but the form that he taught me I'm using on machines, I think, is the best. It's almost like having the secrets of the old guys with the new stuff of today. And I don't care what he says or my dad says or any Olympian says, if they went and used these machines today and used that same kind of intensity and form and contraction, they would have looked even better.
You're so connected to your body.
That's
I'm
awesome.
sure you would tell if there was a big difference, you know?
I know that's the only thing that I hate the most, is that I was telling Jay when I was on his podcast, is maybe you can look it up. I think I've gained the most weight than any bodybuilder ever. I was 155 my first show, and I was 285 my last show.
What
You
about
have
Flex?
people like
Flex is pretty
Flex
close.
who?
He was like Flex.
Wheeler?
He was like 135, wasn't he? His first fucking show. Where he was like,
Yeah, but he still was only like 220, 230.
well, in '99, what was he, like 250?
Yeah, right. That's not.
Yeah, it's close,
That's
right?
not.
Well,
But,
off
but
season, no, yeah, you got him probably about 15
yeah, but
pounds.
I'm 285 on stage.
Yeah.
And like, even if, right, I could have pulled a little bit of water, maybe 5, 6 pounds here or there, right. It wasn't like I won the show. But still, no matter what, my point is that I know how to fucking work out. And I also know how to read my body. But because I don't have a Mr. Olympia trophy, and because I'm not getting first place in all of my shows, I don't know how to work out, and because I'm going and I'm trained with all the greats, and because I'm not winning Mr. Olympias, it's to people that don't understand training, it comes off like I'm just lost and I'm just looking for people to finally give me the one secret that's going to make me like, oh, Mr. Olympia, like that.
No.
When it's not,
Everyone good does just take a little piece. Yeah.
That's what everybody does. Exactly.
Yeah.
Every Mr. Olympia is trained. Even my dad trained with Arthur Jones, who taught Menser, who taught O'Dorian. They're all using some kind of everyone's training somewhere in there. And I think those are the best bodybuilders. I don't know who taught Ronnie, besides what's his name?
Powerlifting coach, probably back in the day when he started powerlifting.
Right. So I'm saying there's definitely exceptions of people that have won the Olympia, and I don't think that they were training with any of the greats. I think they just figured out on their own. But for the most part, that is bodybuilding, is learning everyone's ways, trying it out, figuring out what works for you, and then, either continuing to do it or dropping it. So there's things that I did with Dorian that I'm not going to do. Some of them were really on the straddling the line of getting injured, So me, I'm going to be 40 soon. Those are not worth the risk to worth ratio, So some things I am, some things I'm not.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome, man. So are you doing Y3T training now, or do you just do your own training, or?
Yeah, some of it, when I get on like actual prep and I pick a show, I'm just going to do exactly what Neil says, because going into the show, I need to know the day of the show, whatever we place, I need to tell myself, I wasn't on the side not doing certain things or not doing his program completely, because we know because we do it. Sometimes the diet has to match the training. And, so if you're even just doing something less on the training, it's not going to match with the diet that he's giving you. And so that's going to fuck up his whole program. So once I start an actual show and pick it, I'm going to do exactly what he says. So fully, and I'm excited. I did a little bit when I was in Dubai when I started with him. And I really liked the training a lot. I also just believe in, like, when I went with Dorian, like, no matter what, even though it was only 3 times a week, those training sessions were so intense and so hard on my body. I had to get some kind of growth, right? The whole uncomfortability and the unknown for us equals progress, as long as you don't get injured. So me doing something with him, like that kind of training, it's going to give me results no matter what, even if it's not even the best for you. We can go train with somebody and be like, oh, you know what, this probably isn't the best I'm going to do forever, but I bet you got gains during that time, because that shock on your body is your body's just like, holy shit, what the hell is going on? So yeah, I'm excited to be completely and doing exactly what Neil's doing. I'm going to keep the same form and little tricks that Dorian taught me when I do Neil's plan. But I don't think that hurts. It's only going to make it where the weight is harder. So I would have to go less weight, which I have no problem doing. I'm not an ego lifter.
Have you seen Robin train? Robin, I love his form. He's so on point, like no compression strategies at all. You should check out some of his stuff. He is like exactly the way I think most people, especially as you get a little older as a bodybuilder, you benefit from keeping those ribs in really good position, making sure we don't get squished and have any kind of issues. I got one more quick question. You doing okay, Robin?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. I know you're getting close to your show, man. I know it can be tough. I don't know. I had a bunch of things people ask. I don't know why. I really want to know this. I know, Sergio, you listen to some really good music. So the question was just what kind of workout music do you usually listen to? And does it change based off of like the body part or the exercise you're doing?
Oh, it's a good question. I've got a whole bunch of music. Sometimes it depends on the mood. Yeah, it definitely depends on the mood. One band I've loved for a long time, Trivium, really good. Basically like screamo.
I feel like
I
metal.
like screamo a lot.
Yeah.
But again, if I'm not in the mood for that, like I'll listen to like Audio Machine, stuff like that, which is like
What is
kind of
that?
more uplifting and epic. Audio Machine is awesome, dude. You should check out Audio Machine.
You know what that is, Sergio?
They're older?
No, like you've probably heard a lot of their music. Like a lot of bodybuilders
Mm.
use them for posing music.
Is this some epic shit? Is that what you're listening to? You're just in the
Yeah, like
mindset. You got some epic shit playing.
if you
You're
watch
so
like a pro
mental. It's good.
bodybuilding show, you'll probably get like at least 1 or 2 guys that are using an audio
Some
machine.
Russian. It's usually like some dude over there.
Yeah, it's pretty well known.
What anything normal? What else do you got? I know Trivium. What else? Is that those are the main ones?
Treyu's really good.
One of my clients' cousins is the guitarist for them. He used to be the guitarist for Creed.
Oh, that's sick. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Tool. I've been a fan of Tool since I was a teenager.
Have you ever seen them?
I have not seen them. No.
Oh, great
Love to,
concert.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah. A Day to Remember is really good.
I like Day to Remember.
Yeah. What else?
I'm a little more poppy lately. What Sergio, I've heard you listen to everything. I've seen you post like Korn. I love some Korn. I've seen you listen to a lot of hip hop.
Korn's good, man. Yeah.
Korn's always up there.
Yeah, Rammstein's my leg day. I'm gonna listen to that today. It's my go-to. But it's weird. I actually have to lift to Pandora, because when I used to just do like
That makes sense.
If it's my last set, I have certain songs because it's my one chance. Like if it's my last set of squats, I'm definitely listening to a Rammstein song, and I also can't listen to it again the rest of the week because I need it to get its like
yeah, exactly.
It's
keep his juice.
The gusto, right? Exactly. So some exercises like flies and stuff, I'll even like listen to some 90s music, some 80s music, just because it like gives me this like nostalgic.
Well, what is the 80s and 90s? You talking about like synth in the 80s, or are you talking about like 90s hip hop, Biggie, or what do you mean?
No, like even like pop, like whatever, probably like whatever is giving me some kind of right, like
I jam LaBouche.
Like, LaBouche.
Yeah, want to be my lover.
yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, so exactly songs like that, it gives me, I don't know what it's, because we weren't even like, it's not even like I was like an adult or a teenager during that time. I had to have been like a little kid, but it gives me this like sense of maybe my childhood or something, that it gives me such a energy rush. But yeah, that's mostly if it's heavy, which is majority of what I do, it has to be something angry. Like it has to be like, if it's what it is it's always music I would never listen to. It's always rap. Rap I would never listen to
Really?
driving at the house. It would never be like I'm never just at the house listening to Rammstein. Like I might listen to like Schism, you know, some like a few of the Tool songs that are just like really great songs. But the
Yeah.
majority of the Tool songs are only gonna just drive your adrenaline up. So I don't want to just be like around the house listening to that. But Pandora's cool because you don't know what the next song was.
Yeah, I should do that.
So
Because I'll fucking waste a
sometimes,
goddamn 3 minutes. I'm like, God damn it, I'm supposed to rest for. Sorry, Robin. I was like, I'm supposed to rest for a minute. It's been
yeah,
three
yeah,
picking
yeah.
this fucking song.
Right, exactly. Or I'm listening to it and it just doesn't have that same like umph anymore. And it's because right, you listen to it every week, you know, and if you just kill the song for it.
So are you like an
But
emotional lifter? Like you're able to
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
tie into something?
I time it. I time like I'll time like I'll be wrapping my knees while it's just like the build up, and then I'll get under the bar for the build up. And if I can time, like it's almost a skill, you know.
Yeah,
If you
I
can
do
time where
too.
you're doing your rep right when it's like about to drop, I'll do 7 reps before I even realize I'm working out. I'm just so gone in the music. I
But so
probably
you're
at
like lifting with anger? Like you're able to like, are you thinking about something, or is it just hype? Are you thinking about like competing? Or are you thinking about like a situation or anything?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I got a lot of demons. I got enough demons for at least every rep for sure. I
Man,
know.
I see. I wish I was more emotional.
I feel bad. I feel, but the only thing that I hate about my lifting is that I'm really loud. So anytime you're like, oh, those guys are like yelling at the top of
You're as
their
big
lungs,
as
like
you are. You can be
you
fucking
hate
loud,
them.
Sergio.
But it's something weird where like even the times where I'm like trying to be respectful, if I'm especially if I'm at a new gym and I try and not yell at the top of my lungs, I notice I have no strength. It's so crazy. It's something, I mean, I'm sure it's how I've trained my diaphragm to get my air out, you know, and to explode. But if I go to a new gym, I won't because I feel embarrassed.
That's probably
I
exactly
even
what it is. That makes a lot of sense. You probably like really exhale like super hard and you get more forceful by
Mhm.
making the sound. That's really good.
Yeah, and then I know how to inhale easier too. When I realize sometimes if I don't yell my breath out, it takes me a lot longer to get my inhale in. And sometimes I'm still inhaling when it's time to be coming back up or, whatever it is. So now here in Vegas, I don't care because it doesn't matter. But in Spain, like
Yeah,
I was
that was kind of weird
me
over
and
there, huh?
yeah, me and Rubio are I think the only pros in that whole country. And Dubai, I didn't care about because fuck them.
What about you, Robin? Do you lift emotionally at all? Or are you pretty like just focused?
It depends on where I'm at, man. Like, if you're deep into prep, I mean, recently, I've started to have to kind of bring more emotion into it to get that intensity. But most of the time,
What are you thinking
uh,
about? Are you thinking about competition or something else?
a lot of the times I will think about competition. Like a lot of the times I will just count down from like 10th place to first place as an example of just like how I'm like thinking like from each rep. I think that always really works for me. Especially like when you need to really grind out a set. I mean, if you just told yourself, you know, fourth place, you don't want that shit again. So then you have to get 4 more reps. So that's one technique that I'll use. Um, yeah, music always helps, man. I think having the right song can definitely drive emotion, and especially when you really feel something, it can make you feel present. Breathing is also really key. Like you were saying, like having like a really hard like kind of yell can really drive up your adrenaline, and that can really help to get you psyched up for a set. So like I'll even teach clients like take a really deep exhale or really deep inhale and then a really hard exhale and then a really big inhale and then get ready for your set, because otherwise you're just you're going from like chatting to okay, now is your set, okay, let's go, like you got to actually like get some energy going, right? So I think controlling your nervous system is really key for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, for
Okay,
especially
lifting.
sure.
when it's big weights, right? When it's big weights, you
Yeah.
gotta drive up your sympathetic nervous system. But then also, like you said too, it's like you gotta be able to also bring yourself back down. Because if you're just carrying yourself after the gym, you're still angry when you're driving home. That's not good.
You didn't
So
work hard enough. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I wish my life wasn't so good right now sometimes. So I could like think of shittier things. Although I had a really horrible business experience a few months ago with my fucking shitty ex-business partner. So I was able to get angry for a little bit then. But it's like, fuck, if I don't got bad shit going on in life, it's hard for me to like think back to shit that used to be bad because like I'm kind of over that now. um, you're in Toronto. I've been listening to a shit ton of Kendrick and stuff. That's been getting me amped up. What's the vibe in Toronto? Like as far as the beef with Drake and Kendrick, is Drake get a lot of support in his home city?
Oh yeah, 100%.
He does.
Yeah.
There's no. Yeah, because I mean, I don't think it's happening anywhere else. Do you follow that at all, Sergio?
Hell no.
Yeah,
I just saw that they jumped Rick Ross, so that was cool. I hate him.
Oh yeah.
I think he's fucking
Officer.
he's so disgusting. Yeah, he's such a rat. Exactly. And then even he like made a video yesterday where he's like talking about one of the Canadians that like punched him in his face, and he's like, "The fucking fat ass." Like fat people calling other people fat is so crazy. It's so nuts. No, yeah.
Rick Ross
But I'll
knows how
draw.
to grunt though. He knows how to grunt. He's
Yeah.
always doing
Yeah. But you know what? I'll listen to Rick Ross when I'm training because I want to be angry. You know, even if it's angry emo music, whatever it is, it gets me going. Yeah, for sure. And I just feel like, right, you know, like if it's your last set of squats, you get to do that once a week. This is your one chance. It's like betting on the stock market, you know, you need to fucking for sure go all out. It has to be everything right. So I'm the kind of guy, I'll drive home if I left my headphones. Like it's just not even going to be a question because I get, except for maybe back and like legs because I separate and do hams and quads, you get one chance a week to improve this. It's 4 times a month, you know, and I don't know how many weeks before you're going to have a show or how many months before a show. But once you start counting how many more leg days you have, how many more whatever back days you have for a show, that motivates me way more than saying I'm 16 weeks out from a show.
yeah.
That makes it a little bit more real and it becomes way more serious because when you're 2 months out and you know you don't train legs the last week and realistically how heavy you're going the week right before, you know, you have like 6 leg days left to improve. And we all know it's how many
this is me. You're getting me amped up.
yeah, like how many weeks before you're going to see that muscle, you know? So that's very hard to think too. It's not like I have 6 more leg days and I'm going to get 6 days of results. You're probably going to get a lot of those results from those leg days after your show. So a lot of times when you're like counting down, you really know in the back of your head, like I'm getting 8 more leg days, but probably 4 worth of results of physical, you know, cosmetic results. And that motivates me more counting down.
You guys are such good atmospheres too. I fucking would kill to be in one of your guys' atmospheres.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said that because that's what I'm telling you, John. I'm like, there's no time to fuck around, dude. Like time is passing quick. Your show's gonna be here, and you better be on point, you know, or else you're just not getting on stage. So, you remember
what
that.
What are the other guys doing? You know, like you're always gonna go against some sicko that has no life. And you have to remember that because you might have better like aesthetics or might have better genetics and stuff like that. But if they are really a no life kind of person, they're all in. I left my wife because she didn't believe me. I quit my job because they didn't want to give me time off. You know, that guy's gonna beat you because he is just every day is so he's probably alienated himself. He has no friends because every workout is so serious. Every meal is so serious. But he is going to beat you at the end of the day if you're not on that. Like, fuck, I have X amount of time left. I need to get on it.
Yeah, and it's crazy making it such a priority when I don't make money. But it's like, yeah, I cut out like 10 hours a week. I mean, that's two grand. Just cut out right there. I mean, it's 100 grand. You know, take it out. So,
but I mean, except for some case, you know, certain cases in the sport, I know some people had like a full ride from the beginning. Especially back in the day when you had like Joe Weider and Ed Connors, they would literally pay for you to just train. So besides those guys, everybody did what you're doing. Yeah. Everybody is now having to pass up money to make no money for the chance to make a little bit of money.
Maybe not even anymore.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, but that's not why we do it. Obviously, we don't do it for the money. I just found my dad's Olympia trophy, actually. I was able to.
You just found it? Where was it at?
Well, because didn't I tell you in one of our episodes how my dad had to sell all his trophies?
Yeah,
talking about that.
Yeah.
So I was able to find one of them.
Cool.
I tracked it down, but it's not a Sandow. It's before they even had Sandows. But
that's awesome. That's even cooler.
Yeah. I want to post it. It's pretty cool looking, and but it's really cool to see that the trophy. I mean, it's probably half the size of a Sandow, but it probably weighs the same. It probably weighs 3 times as much of a Sandow because it's made out of like marble, and the guy on the top is made out of gold. So it was just really interesting. Like I'm watching this, and we say all the time, like we don't get into this for the money. We don't get into this for the money. But back then, my dad won $1,000 for the Olympia. Obviously, with inflation, $1,000 is a little bit more than it is today, but still, it wasn't much. $1,000 wasn't that crazy. It wasn't like winning the lottery. But the trophy is so expensive that they spent so much money. I have another trophy. It wasn't the Olympia, and my girl can't even pick it up. It is so fucking heavy. And it's because back in the day, you were doing it for the glory. You had really a small following. There was probably a couple hundred people in the country that were even into bodybuilding. Yeah. But so the things that you win and the respect you get was so much greater. Where now how many guys break their trophies before they even leave backstage because it's made out of like ceramic, So it is just crazy to see how we say like we don't do this for the money, we don't do this for the money. But back in the day, man, you really did like make no money, but that trophy was fucking badass. It really was. The medal, like one of my dad's medal, it will give you whiplash on your neck because it's so heavy. So it's just cool. It's cool to see how the sport has changed. Where now we're making more money. But the stage is worse. The trophies are shit, But we can pay our bills.
Yeah, that's it. You can work out for a living.
Yeah, and to some of us, man, that's a dream.
Yeah, I just blows my mind sometimes. Robin, can you imagine like the pressure of Sergio, like being on the Olympia stage? How old were you when your dad brought you on stage the first time when you were like little baby? And it's like your dad beat Arnold, and then like you decided to go into bodybuilding. No one else has any way to imagine what that just kind of stress and that level would feel like. I'm always really just admire that you even decided to go that route. It's really hard to follow the steps of greatness.
Yeah, it's really stupid.
Well, I think it's pretty admirable.
It would have been better if we did it together. That would have been, I think then that would have been. Do you think
he would have changed a little bit if he hung around a little bit more?
Because then we have something that we can relate to. I think
he would have been like accepting.
Yeah, because even when I got into bodybuilding, it wasn't even like I was doing it so me and him could relate. It wasn't like my dad was like a football coach and I'm like, all right, fine, our relationship shit, I'll play football just so we have something. He hated bodybuilding so much that it only drove us even further apart. So yeah, looking back, me getting into bodybuilding only hurt our relationship. But if he didn't have this animosity towards the sport, he eventually, like my mom, even though my mom didn't want me to compete, he would have eventually, after a while, had to be like, man, I'm at least going to go to his shows. And there's no way that I know that he's going to be at a show, like not even helping me in the gym. Even if I just knew he was going to be at a show, I'm not going to do one more rep. I'm not going to just like what we're just talking about, like the things we're thinking in the back of our head. Like I'm not going to, I remember he went to one of my track meets. He only went to one thing I ever did: track, swimming, football, every sport there fucking is. He went to one track meet. And because he was there, I was so nervous. I was the top hurdler in the state of Illinois. And I fell for the first time in my life.
This is gonna be a great story. I thought you were gonna fucking crush it. I was waiting. State record.
fell on my ass. But it made me realize, because I remember I was so mad, but I was almost like, it was like, what happened to me? This is like something so easy to me. And I realized, man, holy shit, I really do care what he thinks. Because I'm just like, I'm gonna do this no matter what. I don't care. We barely talked. We had no relationship. But when he came to that meet and I fell because I was trying to go even harder, it was something that I realized myself, like, damn, you know what? Like, I really do care. And I wasn't lifting. I didn't work.
That's a fathering moment. How did he respond to that at that moment? Was he like, it's all good, son? Or is he like,
No. He did really good. He like,
that's good.
He was like working. He was a cop. So he came in his uniform. I think he was working. I think he just like came to the school where I had to meet at. But no, he was really cool. He came up to me and he was like, oh, don't worry. But I was thinking like, he probably thinks this happens to me all the time. He probably thinks is probably like trying to give me some like, it's okay advice, not knowing his son is literally the best. And so it only made me more mad, but yeah, he definitely was probably one of the only few times that he was very calm. He was very supportive and respectful. But when he went to that one show that he did, it was only, and I think it was the same thing with the track meet. I think it was just when people are already talking about me, like, holy shit, your son's winning every medal in track. You should go to one fucking track and field meet. And then when I'm doing a show in Chicago and everyone's like, so where are you sitting? What time are you getting there? They're just talking to him like, of course he's going. That's the only reason my dad went to the junior nationals that he went to. So I think a lot of times it was other people guilt tripping him and making him feel bad that he wasn't going, that he even went. So it was great that he went, but I can't even give him credit because I think it was just because he didn't want to be embarrassed by so many people. He had so many friends going to that junior nationals in Chicago, and if he didn't go, they would be like, "What is wrong with you?"
That
Yeah.
sucks. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I mean,
Thanks for
last
bringing.
thing. My bad.
Thanks
Every
for
time
bringing
I
up old
always bring
memory.
up your dad, some shitty
No,
memory.
no.
A
I'm just
horrible
fucking with
shoot.
you. No,
You
no,
you
no.
you
It's cool.
bodybuilding like forever, Robin, right? Like, weren't you pretty young when you started?
I started, yeah, I did my first show when I was 18.
You're 18.
Holy
Your parents
shit.
were pretty supportive.
My mom didn't come to my first show until the show that I turned pro at.
And was she
Ah,
So
that's
she wasn't a fan
that's
of it, or
it was 8 years.
good. Good luck.
I don't know, man. Yeah, eight,
is
eight
it?
years, I guess it took her to show up, but it's not that she just didn't understand it, I guess, she
Well,
just,
no one understands it unless you're in it,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And
Yeah.
I never really like expected her to be there, you know what I mean? But it was cool to have her there and actually experience me get my pro card, because she was like, oh yeah, like this is something that my son is really serious about and he's pretty good at it. So after that, she's kind of been like more supportive, and she's come to the shows at least that are in Toronto. So yeah.
That's after I won my show. That's my first bodybuilding show. My mom was like, I'll start going. I'm like, well, okay. I'm like, well,
Nah, but that's
awesome.
really cool. Yeah, that's cool. So when did you start
18.
working out then? If you did 18 a show?
I started working out when I was 17. And then I did a show pretty quick, like within a
Did you hop
year.
on gear right away? Were you taking anything, or that was natural?
I competed natural for a few years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started taking stuff when I was 21.
Yeah, I got ready for Branch Warren's teen division when I was 19, and then I ended up pulling out of it. That was what I was trying. I would start working. I was like 14. You started pretty late, Sergio, right?
Yeah, I didn't even get lifted. I was gonna say when he was 18 doing a show, I was still spitting in a cup to try and make weight and lose weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did wrestling and track and swimming, all things that you wanted to try and lose weight to be faster. So yeah, I didn't even lift a weight till I was 21. I didn't do my first show till I was like 24.
Do you still swim good? Real quick. Sorry, I fucking sink, and I used to be a good swimmer.
Yeah, yeah. It's my favorite. I have more enjoyment in the water than I do in the
Yeah.
gym.
Wow, that's rare. That's cool.
Hmm. Not
Shit.
now with my bum shoulder. I'm
When are
having
you
to do
coming out
just like
here?
the 21st, I think.
21st. It's just like 2 days, or what?
Yeah, but I'm gonna take my girl to San Diego. Like if I'm gonna drive down, I might as well stay. So I don't have a time frame. So I'm definitely gonna
Yeah.
come by for sure. No matter what, I'm gonna swing by you.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Let me know for sure. I also are you posing with Joey out there? Who are you posing with?
Once I can do a front double, I will. I just
Yeah.
feel like it's such a waste of money to pay for a posing coach, and I can't even do front double or back
Is
double.
you're going to use him though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like the people that don't have a set way, even
Yeah.
with training. Like that's the biggest thing that I've had with all the people that I've trained with. Even if they're Mr. Olympias, that's their set way. There's no way around it. There's no variation. It's my way or the highway. And unless you are my height with my dimensions, there has to be some kind of, well, let's just try this. Let's just see this. And that's his big thing that he tells all of his clients is that he is going to try every variation and then they'll together will pick what's best. You'll go with a couple posing coaches. Like one of the best posing coaches I've been with is Cormier. He is really
Dude, I
good.
tried to fucking throw money at Cormier. He was in Orange County. I was like, come to my gym. He's like, okay. Never heard from him fucking 2 days. I was like, I'll drive down to San Diego. Just tell me when. Okay. Fucking never heard from him.
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, I'm trying to just throw you money. Let me come
yeah,
pose.
yeah. That's Cormier. So if you look at his posing, obviously he'll change it if like you're a classic or open, but for the most part, it's exactly the same. And some of those tricks are really good. They apply for everybody, but sometimes it needs to just be kind of varied a little bit. So I definitely am going to work with Joey. I think that'll be really good. I told you that the posing condition guy is Psycho.
Yeah.
I really got to watch Sean and Psycho when we were all training together do the posing, and it's cool to see behind the scenes of what you're really doing. You're almost getting mad at him because he's like another one, and you're
That
just like
sucks.
you fuck. I hate this guy. You're dripping sweat. You're slipping. Your socks are all wet. But then you saw him go against Phil when he beat him, and everyone's out of breath. And Sean looks over at him like, "Are you okay, bro?" He won it. He won it right there when he did that. Like, "Bro, are you okay?" You know, and that's only because of this guy running you and running you and running and running you. So that way, when you get on stage, because now that's the new criteria for the open guys. They don't want to judge. They don't want to make the decision. They're just going to pose you over and over again. But it at least takes it out of their hands when you can't get mad at them. It's harder for us because going into the show, it's what I was talking about with Jay. Classic, men's physique, all the other, like maybe only 212 and open are the only ones that when you get on stage, you find out then how you're going to do. Because what you look like in men's physique, you can go out there, nothing you're going to do is going to mess you up. You're either going to be good or not. Open, you can come out and be looking pretty sick. Like I use Crizzo as a perfect example. Crizzo comes out and his, where they do you by numbers and then they bring you out in your first call out, he's fine. If he does 2 or 3 more revolutions, he looks like a completely different person. Stomach is out, he's shaking, he's sweating, and that guy is losing on stage. And that's something that happens really in the open. And it's only because now they're just kind of like, they do it with, they do it. I'm sure they did with you too, Robin, where they're like, "All right, you guys want to do another one?" And we're all like, "Yes." We're just like crying inside. But who's going to be like, no, please God, not another one. You know, but that is what separates. And that's how you know too when the show is really close, whenever they do that. Because they're just like, they already ran you 5 times and then they switch you and then they're like, "You guys ready for the last one?" And you're just crying. Yeah.
I remember I lost one time because of that, and then I won another time because of that. I remember when I lost because I lost. I was like, "God fucking damn it!" That was 100% on me.
Same. Yeah, I lost Tampa because of it. During prejudging, I must have been tied. They had me and Alex Rodriguez to come out. They just me and him, and they just said front lat spread. I've never seen this. They just said front lat spread, and they just sat there,
chill,
and just sat there. And I was like, I remember thinking like, "What the fuck is going on?" And as soon as I went to readjust and redo the pose, they called the next pose. And that's what they were doing. They just wanted to see who was going to hold it the longest and who could. And then I made the decision for them and they put me in second. So that's something I definitely want to get on. So I'll probably to go out and pose with him to kind of get my breathing right. Because honestly, it's the worst part about me.
That's what I'll use, Robin. I'm going to see him when I go out there. I'll get somebody local too. Don't worry. I promise. Well, man, appreciate you. We've been on here for a minute. I'll let you go. I know, Robin, you're getting tired. Sergio, you got to hit your workout. I appreciate it, man. Is there anything else you guys want to throw in, anything before you take off?
Ricky Gervais is the best comedian.
Yeah, I like Ricky. I like Ricky.
Yeah,
I like Jimmy Carr. I like the British humor.
Yeah. I did want to say your Rob, your transformation, your back double that you had posted. It's very easy to put like a picture of us in like the beginning of our career and then like recent. And it's like, whoa, look at the transformation. But that was like 1 year. It's like a 1 year difference. And you didn't like lose condition. It's almost like the same person, same condition. Your hamstrings are just sliced up and down. And it was just such an increase in the back. I mean, obviously
I had you win in the back double.
And your hamstrings too. But I thought that was really cool. That was a really cool transformation to show because not a lot of guys will show 1 year transformations because it's probably going to be so minuscular that nobody's going to even notice. But that was really impressive.
I really appreciate that, man. Yeah, it means a lot.
Yeah, the back double's gnarly, man. I like it.
No, good luck, bro.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, just want to say, thanks for having me on, John. And Sergio, it was awesome chatting with you. I really appreciate all the things that you said. I definitely learned a few things. So, no, it's awesome. Yeah.
Well, good luck, buddy. I know you're going to kill it. I'm definitely going to see you in that top collar fighting for the top spot. I'm pretty confident. It'll be awesome.
Oh, yeah, man.
All right, cool. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you
later.
soon. Bye.